three. He's fighting for you.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you on a hump day Wednesday morning. And 6:05, I've got Danny on the phone. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well, man.
Good. It's a little chilly out this morning, boy.
I wasn't out long enough, man. Just get in the car and get out of there.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'm not, believe me, I'm not complaining because we know it's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, it's part of the season. We look forward to it. It's going to get warm. That's okay.
Yeah. So the president's in Davos, huh?
Yeah, I guess Air Force One just landed.
Yeah.
It ought to be a whirlwind.
It should.
A lot of expectations because, man, I mean, there's there's a standing in the United States now that we haven't had in a long time. I mean, we're really the powerhouse, and Trump is pointing it out that you guys need us. So stop treating us, like redheaded stepchildren.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they had 4 years of
Biden.
I'm not going to say what I want to say, but Dipsy Doodle, and and he didn't do nothing.
Well, he didn't do anything productive.
No.
Yeah.
No. All he did was what his staff told him what to do.
Yeah. But Trump is not only being aggressive in policies here, his policies all over the world. When it comes to NATO or those kind of things that we've been supplying way too much for too long, and they do nothing but thumb their nose at us.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Well, because we've been giving them millions of dollars.
Well, it's really coming to a hit over this Greenland thing too. Like somebody in the European Union are saying, no, you can't occupy Greenland, and we fund a lot of what they do. We fund NATO. Hugely, and I got a story on that Edward shared with me that opened my eyes to a lot of it may is indirect, but without us supporting their economies, they'd have to make major changes.
Yeah,
and yet they treat us like crap at times.
Mm-hmm. Well, they know they can and they can get away with it. They were anyways. Not anymore.
Yeah, and then United Nations, NATO, and all that stuff. We're seen as the deep pockets, and we end up paying for way too much of it.
Well, President Trump is the only president that has a big pair of to stand up to these.
Well,
folks.
Yeah, he's like enough nonsense. He did in his first term too. And that was during the Ukrainian war, Russia when it was first starting. And it was like you guys aren't even paying in your promise to NATO, and living a lot off of us and stepping up. And I know he pushed a lot of that back then, and a lot of them did too. And not all of them, a lot of them did. And now those same ones that live off of us are kicking dirt in his face over the Greenland thing. They're angry about it. And Greenland would bring, the strategic part of it, for defense would defend the entire West, not just us, but Canada, Mexico, they all get a free ride. They don't have to buy the defensive weapons and all that from people that don't like us.
Now, does Greenland do they have oil and stuff like that they mine?
I'm told that what the stories are, that they've got a lot of rare earth minerals and stuff. I don't know about oil. I mean, possibly. I have no idea, but we've got enough oil right now. For hundreds of years, but
yes, but it's always nice to have more.
well, easier to get. A lot of ours in shale oil and stuff. It's a little harder to mine, but it's there.
Now, so I don't know how the gas prices are by you in town, but out here in the foothills, it's hovering around $2.97, and President Trump keeps telling me that's going down.
Well, it is. It's going down in the nation. I mean, there's places that pay like $2.30 or something.
Well, why is it higher out here?
Because of transportation cost and California. You know,
well,
we get our oil out of the refineries in California, which are shutting down.
yeah,
So
which is
a lot of
that's
things, there's going to be more transportation costs. And, you know, we're not next door to a refinery like a lot of the people in Texas and stuff. They got
yeah,
refineries that, you know, down the street.
yeah,
And we don't. We don't. So we don't have a single refinery in the state of Arizona.
yeah.
Well, we do. We do
I,
have something very small, but nothing consequential. Yeah.
why is that? I mean, you know, we're a red/purple state. I mean, we should be able to fund
Well,
something good.
well, it just there's a desire to put them here. In fact, in Welton, there was property that was acquired by a company right near the railroad that would have put in a refinery, and they've held it up. You know, EPA and some of the state stuff has held it up, and you know, we pay a price, and that price is in higher cost and more vulnerability in case something happens that we don't have quick access to what we need. And then, you know, our state also is, you know, puts requirements on the formulation of gas. And many states do. They do it, and they're not all consistent, so they don't make one gas. They have to. I don't know if it's additives, what they do to it, but we have a different formulation, so it's not like they can just shift us gas from somewhere else. They have to shift it from somewhere else that matches our requirements, and you know, because our state's different than other states.
Yeah, well, I mean, and if you look, right, it is. If you look at it, I mean, the only thing that, in what I can see is what a refinery would have to put up with it is the heat. I mean, there's no hurricanes or anything like that, is there, around here? I don't think.
Oh, well, I don't think the heat hurts them. Not the refinery. It may hurt some of the workers, but we're used to that. We're in Arizona, so and you know, when they were looking to put it up and reading some of the literature and the studies on the carbon emissions and all that, I mean, probably would have cleaned the air more than it polluted it. But I'm just, you know, I was an advocate for it at the time. You know, I'd go and testify and stuff at some of the hearings. You know, of the need and to reiterate some of the opportunities and you know, the only thing that people came to say about it, well, I can't breathe and the air's already dirty and all that stuff, and they never really looked at the whole thing, the whole picture. So,
hey, Russ, is your sidekick with you today?
no, man, I kicked him out. No, he's in Vegas because they've got the gun show going on over there, and that's what he does. You know, he's a writer for a gun magazine.
Yeah.
Ammo Land. So you grab his articles on Ammo Land. So he's over there. I'm expecting him to call in, but somebody called in ahead of him. Oh, it was you. You called in.
That was me. I'll let you go, buddy.
No problem. Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna give send Dean a note. I haven't talked to him. You know, since he got to Vegas, and just let him know phone lines are open if he's up. There we go. Yeah. Since Danny started talking about a little bit about Davos and stuff, I'm just going to mention something that's relatable, and that's an article I just got from Edward about NATO. You know that, and it starts off. The article is you know, an opinion piece and stuff, but it talks about that the American taxpayers are subsidizing Europe's welfare programs, which I didn't know we did that. But hey, let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ. I'm up in Las Vegas, getting ready to go to the SHOT Show again today.
I thought you might be up. Danny beat you to the phones. I didn't know if you were trying to call in right at 6:00.
Yeah, I tried calling, but it showed as busy or something. So
yeah,
and
that's Danny's fault from out in the foothills, man. He got up early. He was bored.
Well, it's good for him for getting in. So.
got up and did that. So yeah, have you? Is today the first day of the SHOT Show, or has it already been?
No, yesterday, actually Monday, was Industry Day at the range, which I come up for, but that's by invitation over only, and it's at Boulder City at I think it's the Boulder. Is it Rod and Gun Club? Boy, I'm butchering it. Boulder City. Um, I'm going to say Rifle and Revolver Club, but I'm not sure if I've got the name right. So forgive me, Boulder City Club.
Okay.
But it's an extensive, huge facility, and they use it every year for Industry Day at the range, and I'm sure they get remunerated for it. And it's just got a large number of rifle and pistol, long range, short range points. They have some shotgun points too, but those are not generally used at the Industry Day at the
So
range.
did you get the opportunity to fire anything new and interesting?
I did. Let's see. I'm trying to remember exactly.
No machine guns?
There were. I think I heard what appeared to be automatic fire. So there was Class 3 people. Class 3 is where you apply to the federal government to get a license so that you can have a machine gun, and there's only so many, and it gets complicated. I don't know how much you want to go into that.
No.
But what I did see was, I call this the year of the silencer, or the year of the suppressor, because they were everywhere. And I'm guessing, because I did not do a count, but it appeared to me about half of the firearms that were on the firing line had suppressors on them.
Really?
And there were a fair number of revolvers, and the revolvers don't have suppressors. And some of the really big calibers, like I looked at the long range line, which is a special section where they shoot hundreds of yards out.
Yeah.
And I didn't go completely down the line because it was a little crowded. It's the way it's set up, it's not real conducive to have a lot of people behind the shooter. And so I looked at it, and I could see every rifle I could see had a suppressor on it. And I asked the range officer, safety officer was there, and I said, "Are there any rifles on this line that don't have a suppressor on?" He said, "I saw one, maybe two," he said.
That's a tremendous transformation very quickly.
It is. And, part of it is that the education of the American public and the shooting public is such that they have seen over the last 10 or 15 years just how useful suppressors, silencers are. And I would have to say the whole line, the whole range at the Industry Day at the range, and it's big. It must be close to half a mile from one end to the other. And I would say it's much quieter. It was much quieter.
I was going to ask that if you noticed it.
In previous years. Now, the other thing I say is that it struck me that there were somewhat fewer exhibitors, and definitely a lot fewer media and people that were invited to be there than I'd seen in previous years. Now, it wasn't like huge, but it was like noticeable. And I have to wonder if the weather might be a factor. This year, the weather was gorgeous.
Okay.
But the previous 3 years, it wasn't. And
so you think they're out doing picnics instead of going to see the gun show, you think? Or
no, what I'm saying is that, like last year I went, and it was some of the worst weather. That it wasn't, maybe not the worst, because I remember a year it was worse, but last year it was very windy. It was so windy that it was really dusty, and you could see the sand and dust in the air, and it showed up even on my photographs. And on my article about Industry Day at the range last year was "The wind blew and the dust flew." And dust was getting into everything, and it was uncomfortable. You had to be dressed for really cold weather because the wind was it was pretty cool. It wasn't down to freezing, but it was probably in 40s, I'm thinking, and you had this stout wind of probably 20 to 30 miles an hour and dust everywhere. It was just uncomfortable. It was hard to take notes. Any paper tended to get snatched away from you. And so it just was not a pleasant Industry Day at the range last year. And the year before, it was only a little better. And so I'm thinking people who'd been there just said, yeah, is it worth it to go out to industry day at the range?
Oh,
And
okay. Yeah.
And this year it was just beautiful weather, absolutely gorgeous.
Was it an opportunity for you to test new different firearms or to fire them? Or
yeah, it was, but I tried to. I just found that I didn't see anything that I was
Okay.
like super interested in shooting. I saw. Let's see. I fired a 9mm. I'm trying to think the name of the company. They're just bringing it out, brand new to the market, and it uses a magazine about the size of a regular AR-15 magazine. Okay.
Oh,
Similar to that, but it holds 60 rounds
in a
of
pistol.
9mm. It's a 9mm carbine. It holds 60 rounds. It holds 30 rounds facing one way and 30 rounds facing the other way.
Okay. Now,
so I mean, 30 rounds face forward and 30 rounds face back toward the shooter. So when you fire the 30 rounds that face forward, you pull the magazine out, flip it 180 degrees, insert it back, and then you have another 30 rounds.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
it's an unusual design. I took some pictures of it, and I fired it and flipped the magazine around. I think I fired 3 rounds on one way and then 3 rounds the other way.
Is this a pistol?
No, it's a carbine.
Oh, carbine, a 9mm carbine. Okay,
a 9mm carbine. There's quite a few 9mm carbines.
I know there's some, but
it's so unusual.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they will sell some for people who just like odd, quirky things. But it's hard for me to see that there's a huge advantage to it, other than you hold 60 rounds in essentially the size of a 30 round, not even a 30 round, I'd say. It's probably about, if there was a 25 round AR-15 mag,
okay,
that's about the size of it. It's a little bigger than a 20 round, I think, but it's maybe not quite as big as a 30 round mag. And it's straight. It's not curved at all.
Yeah, there's not often a need for 60 rounds, but
there are other 60 round magazines for 9mm out there. There was a Finnish, I think, called the Sumi, and I might be wrong. I don't have notes in front of me and reference materials. It was made in Finland during World War II that had a quadra-stack mag. There were 4 lines of cartridges that fed up to a staggered mag,
well, that sounds
essentially at the top. And they worked quite well, but they're very expensive magazines to make. So whereas, Sten mags were really cheap, and they held 30 rounds. So, you have 2 of those versus, you'd probably get 5 or 6 of those for the cost of one 60-round mag. So, war is also about economics.
It didn't take off in sales, I'm sure.
It was popular, but it was during the war. And they were making them, in Finland. And Finland was fighting the Russians for a while, and people liked it, but it was just expensive. It's kind of like the Thompson. We made a lot of Thompsons, but they were really expensive to make. They're one of the more expensive submachine guns. Yeah. So we did other things and made other guns that were cheaper. I mean, the M1 carbine probably was at least as effective as the Thompson, maybe more effective. And it was much cheaper to build. And ammunition was lighter. I mean, so you look at all these things when you're trying to come up with weapons that you want to equip your army with. Maybe there's a weapon that's like 5% better, but it costs 3 times as much.
Yeah, not interesting.
You have to look at the cost-benefit ratio, too.
Yeah.
So that was one of the many interesting things there. I came across a silencer company called, I think, Wraith Metalworks, with a WRAITH Metalworks, and they sell this. I'm going to call it a kit for putting together silencers. And what it is, it only has one tax number on it, and it has like 40 different baffles and outer tubes and attachments, but just one serial number. And you can silence everything from a 458 Elephant gun down to a 9mm or a 5.56 millimeter for the AR.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them can be, and you can switch and combine these baffles in different ways, and they're all 3D printed. They're these incredibly complex shapes that look like they're going to be really effective, because when you're silencing things, one of the big things you need to do is to cool off those gases that are escaping, and that cooling helps reduce the volume, and then also you're letting the volume, the pressure get reduced at the same time it's being cooled, and it's expanding into these expansion chambers and such. And so it looked to me like it would be very, very effective, and they claimed it would be very effective. But then you could configure it so many different ways, because there are all these parts in this kit. They're asking about $1,700 for
Oh,
it.
geez.
Yeah, well, there's silencers out there that go for more than that now. And they, like I said, all these parts, are nearly all of them, appeared to be 3D printed, incredibly complex, and they're all made out of either Iconel, which is an expensive nickel copper alloy that is very, very tough. It's used in extreme heat, extreme pressure, or they were made of titanium. And you could switch those. Maybe you put a few Iconel or Inconel, maybe I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, at the end near the muzzle, where you want them for some reason, maybe more abrasive resistance or something. But titanium is very resistant too. But Inconel is denser, so it can absorb more heat easily. And then maybe you put the titanium ones further out, and you can play around and figure out what works for you. It's a fascinating concept. It's kind of like an erector set for putting together your own series of silencers to see what works best for you. Now, the only problem is you still only have one silencer. So you can only use it on one gun, and I don't know whether they will modify their concept and include like several other attachment points and put a serial number on them each, and then you have to get like 5 tax stamps for them, even though the cost of the tax stamp is now $0, as we talked about before.
That's a good price, $0.
It is. And the number, I talked to some people, and I was saying, they've got like over 1 million applications went in the first 10 days, 11 days of January, when the price went down to $0. Well, it's the old supply-demand curve. If the price goes down, the demand goes up, and then eventually your supply catches up to it. But if the cost is $0, you've maximized the demand side out, unless you start paying people to buy silencers. I guess the price of silencers can go down, and in the article I wrote about it, I said, yes, we're opening up the market to a whole bunch of inexpensive silencers, because you only had essentially Cadillac or Rolls-Royce silencers when the tax on it was $200. You don't buy a $50 silencer when the tax is $200.
Right. So what is it? What's on your agenda today? I guess all going to be indoors today. It's going to be.
Yes, it will be, and so I don't have to put on the long underwear and that for the indoor part. But today I will be spending most of the day down on the floor. I want to go talk to people at the Kel-Tec booth and talk to them about that pistol. And I showed you the PR-57. I don't know. They're always hedged. They don't like to talk about sales numbers, but I'm sure it's selling well because the price has stayed up.
Well,
it's selling at near the manufacturer's retail price, and that indicates that they are only producing close to enough to meet demand.
Yeah.
And
I just checked it online to see, while you were on the phone, to see if I could order one. No, it's still a back order. You'd have to get in line.
I ordered mine online from a company that I know of in Kentucky that is, I've gotten good service from them, and it was discounted a little bit when I got it, but with the cost of shipping and I think I had to pay sales tax on it. I forget. It all depends on the configuration of the person you're buying it from when you cross state lines, and it came to about the same as retail price here in Arizona, but anyway, I was able to get one, is what I'm saying. And so they're out there, and I think they're more available now than they used to be. They have a plant. This is Kel-Tec, and people love them or hate them, but they built a new plant in Utah, a bit north of Salt Lake City. And I don't remember the exact town right now. Maybe I'll someday get a chance to tour it. But they built that specifically to build this PR-57 pistol. And so they have a whole plant dedicated to it. So they must be selling a fair number of them.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. I showed you the target that I shot. It's an amazing accuracy for a pistol designed for concealed carry.
Right.
I mean, it's light, it's not very big, but you can put optical sight on it, and with an optical sight, I shot that 1.25 inch group at 25 yards. Now, from a good rest, that wasn't me. I wasn't at the height of my powers back when I was on university pistol team, but I could, with a rest, probably get close to what the pistol is capable of. And of course, that's also, you have to have good ammunition. It's a combination. If you have ammunition that's not very accurate, it doesn't matter how accurate the pistol is.
Mm.
You can't get really good accuracy. But if you have really good ammunition and a really good pistol, then you get accuracy that is braggable.
Is there anything you're looking for that other than silencers when you go indoors?
Sure. I stopped at the Franklin Armory booth, and they have a new bolt-action rifle. But most bolt-action rifles are just copies of one of the designs we've had in the past, or
Right.
something close to it. The Savage action is fairly popular. It's an action that locks into the barrel up front, and it locks into the receiver. But anyway, it's an easy action to build and relatively inexpensive. The Mauser 98 action has been widely copied all over the world. But what Franklin Armory did is, the owner, Jay Franklin, and they've been very successful, said, well, if I go hunting game in Africa or big bears up in Alaska or something, I want to carry my own rifle, not somebody else's. So they designed a bolt-action rifle to try to optimize it of the best of what they thought a bolt-action rifle should be. And I met the engineer who designed it and built it, and he's 25 years old, and he spent the last 2 years designing this rifle and getting it into production.
Well, see, now I trust him because he's got that youthfulness there.
Well, it's just a fascinating story. I'm going to get an interview with him, and I'm trying to remember. Oh, gosh, I hate when I get names wrong. I think it's Kyle. Mm-hmm. And he contacted Franklin. He only lived a few miles away from Franklin Armory. And he was interested in firearms and in engineering. And late in high school, and he was taking some community college courses at the same time that would count for college. He just cold called up Franklin Armory and said, hey, do you have an internship program? Out of the blue. And they said, well, no, we don't, but we could maybe make one. Why don't you come in and talk to us?
That's nice.
And he went in and talked to him, and they said, well, start working here at the factory. And so he worked at Franklin, starting off by building rifles, all the way through until he got his degree. And then he spent the last 2 years, and probably before that, designing and getting into production this brand new design for a bolt-action rifle. Now, of course, in the firearms field, it's a pretty mature engineering field. I mean, so the concepts have all been out there and used at one time for another. I mean, so there's parts of this rifle that are definitely new and different. And of course, there's the idea of a magazine. Well, it uses a magazine, and it uses an action that locks on front locking lugs. But the front locking lugs are part of a separate bolt head, and all this stuff is too technical for a broad audience.
Sure, yeah. Don't even get into it. I don't know.
It is a new design, and I don't think there probably haven't been 30, 40 new or different designs of bolt-action rifles that have been commercially made in the whole history of firearms. They're just not that many ways. It's not. It takes a lot of energy and time and money to come up with a new design for a bolt-action rifle. I mean, so this is really an accomplishment. You have an innovator
but
right out of get his bachelor's degree and is in the company and designs a brand new rifle. It's really an amazing thing.
I question whether I'd want to buy one because one that's been in the field or been tested and true for 50 years, 60 years, and they've perfected it. And it works tremendously well. It's accurate. It's reliable. Why would you want to change? Why would you want to say, well, let me get something new that's never been done before?
Well, I understand Jay Franklin's interest. He says when I go, if I go hunting gazelle in Africa, I want to have my own rifle made in my own factory. Well, I can understand that, and I think the rifle is. I asked about the price, and it's a pricey gun. It's. I think he was quoting, and this is not gospel, okay, because they haven't got it really for sale quite yet. I think it's very close, and because they showed examples there, I was able to look at it. I took help. They took the mechanism apart, and I looked at all the pieces and photographed it and that kind of stuff, and so it's ready. I mean, it's on the edge of production. It's probably being produced right now. But it has advantages for particular markets. Like in Europe, it's so hard to get a permit to have another gun that combination guns and rifles that can switch barrels are favored because you say it's easy to get another barrel because I already have a license for the gun. I just want to get another barrel for it.
Oh, okay.
In European countries and in Australia and in most of the world where they have extreme gun control on civilians having guns, it's nice to have a rifle that you can shoot more than one caliber out of, because you don't have to go through all the horrific permitting process. And so this probably will sell well in Europe, I'm thinking, and maybe Australia, and maybe in Asia, where it's just hard to get a permit to have one. And you want, if you shoot it with high intensity cartridges, and then you want to put a new barrel in because the old barrel is not quite as accurate as it used to be after 5,000 rounds or whatever. Well, with this one, you can take the barrel out yourself and order another one and put it in yourself relatively easily.
Okay. Hey, on another subject, Vegas. And I've been reading some stories about Vegas potentially starting to die off a little bit for the middle class because the hotels are really gearing up for the whales, the guys with a lot of money, and in doing so, the prices have risen. Overall, way ahead of inflation, way ahead of normal pricing, because they're putting themselves not for the middle class anymore, to where you can go up there.
You're saying you're not getting the volume.
Yeah.
Now, I would say at the SHOT Show, it appeared to me that we had a pretty good volume this year. And I haven't seen estimates, and I'm not sure they've done them yet, but the floor was pretty crowded. There were a lot of people there.
Are you, hotel rooms? Are you still paying the same for hotel rooms? Have you noticed increase?
Okay, I'm going to show that I am a very frugal guy.
Yeah, you're off the strip then. Yeah.
I am off the strip. I'm at a relatively inexpensive motel. Okay. And I like it much better than the expensive motels. Amalan sent me into the Venetian, which is a pretty high-grade hotel.
It's decent.
And I hated it. I mean, it was so... You were nickel and dime for every little expense. If you took a bottle of water out of the refrigerator, it's recorded and you're charged for it. And of course, you're not supposed to bring any food of your own into it, and not supposed to bring any firearms there. And if you want to get access to your car, it's a half-mile walk to get back to it in the parking lot.
Well, I understand they've all gone to paid parking. The big hotels, they've all gone to paid.
I think last year was the first year of paid parking, and this year it's the prices are up from what they were last year.
Yeah.
And so fortunately, Amalan's paying that for me, so I don't have to worry about it. But yes, and it's all these little things. I mean, food used to be a bargain in Las Vegas because the casinos subsidized the food, so you get relatively cheap meals at the casino because they wanted you to be there to gamble.
Right.
Well, for whatever reason, food prices are now as high. Actually, I would say a little higher in Las Vegas than they are everywhere else.
Well, that's what I've been reading, that they've really changed it. So to go up there, it's going to take a lot more of your dollar than it used to, because
And
of what
you
you just said.
see-
They start charging for everything that used to be complimentary, free, and
Yeah.
everything
you
has
see-
a price.
You see some places that are degrading. I mean, they're not able to afford the upkeep on them or whatever. I have a colleague who was staying at Circus, and he said, "Yeah, this used to be a really great place, but he says it really isn't up to the old standards."
Well, Circus was always a bargain one anyway. That wasn't
Okay, so maybe it's not a big change there.
well, maybe it's gone down from there, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get this impression that it is getting more expensive, and it's not quite at the height it used to be. But that's not using Chamber of Commerce numbers. It's not using statistics. It's just a gut impression. And probably it's because I noticed things like the paid parking and the price of meals and such all seems to be high to me.
Well, casinos are putting out record profits, but their head count's going down. So I guess that's good for them. We have less people to contend with, and we're making more.
Actually, that's a business model that makes sense to me.
Well,
if you can more profit.
Except there's some of them that have gone out.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
yeah. So
I mean,
so
there's an occupancy rate. There's an occupancy rate they need. You know, I don't know what that is. 85-90% they need, and so it's a balance. You know, it's crazy.
Another thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure if I'd have to check, but it was Martin Luther King Day on Monday.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm trying to remember if the SHOT Show is deliberately timed to be on the weekend that has Martin Luther King Day or not. It's about the same time every year, so it may be. So that may not have been really a change. So, since I was working, I just didn't pay much attention to it.
Do you gamble at all while you're there?
Well, life is a gamble.
Oh, but you're not a guy that's going to spend 3 hours at the poker table. Then, right?
No, I look at a situation like I say to myself, what's the right side of this equation? Where's the best? Well, it's to be the owner of the casino. You want to be the house in the casino because the house gets a percentage of the pot all the time.
See, that's the way you think. You're a numbers guy and all that. I used to, when I'd go for conventions, a few friends would say, "Hey, join me at the blackjack table or something," and I'd do a little bit of it, but I never was big on that. I just didn't.
People do it for entertainment.
Sure, that's the way you need to look at it.
And people also get addicted. It's a real thing. Gambling addiction is a real thing. I had somebody work for me who had it. It's a hard, difficult thing. I mean, they sort of managed to keep it under control. But I was eating at a little restaurant here, and here at a booth is somebody who looks like a homeless person. Okay, I mean, because they're all bundled up. It gets quite cool in the morning here, and they had like their some rolling luggage and other things that made them. You've seen homeless people, and you get the picture. And they're at this booth, and they're I thought they were trying to sleep because they were kind of like halfway turned over, and they had a hat on and everything. And then I was watching because they were only a short distance from me, and their back was to me, and they had a phone out. And the phone, it was pretty clear they were gambling on the phone.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and I'm thinking, wow. It doesn't look like you have enough money to stay in a motel, and yet you're and I thought, I don't know the person.
But
I did not interview them.
Yeah, but
I don't
he's close to
name.
hitting it, and as soon as he hits it, he can afford that hotel. He knows he's close. No, I know. I've seen
my
him.
suspicion. That's my suspicion, and
Yeah.
so that's as bad, almost as bad as alcoholism, but it doesn't have the health detriment.
Yeah. Well,
So I saw that first time I've ever seen somebody who appeared to be homeless gambling on their phone.
I'm assuming that at the SHOT Show you're going to have a lot of accessories, whether it's clothing, holsters, all those kind of things. Anything exciting on that end? Anything new, or is it just reconfiguration stuff?
I did, I looked through some of them, and I didn't notice anything in particular. I'm sure that I am just missing it. There are acres and acres and acres of the show. You cannot, if you started walking, if you walked it, I think it was like 3 or 4 miles an hour and never stopped at any booth for the 5 days of the show, you might be able to get through it. I mean, there's that many displays. So there's stuff out there that I have not seen, lots and lots of it, and there wasn't anything particular that caught my eye.
Yeah.
I will say that I was interviewed, and I'd arranged to meet with a colleague who has a YouTube channel that's doing extremely well, and he was we met at the media room, and then we did an interview because he uses my bear stories a lot.
Huh.
And so it was kind of we were both complimenting each other. So,
at least you got that. Well, I went to Mexico the other day with George. George was in town; he's a friend, and he wanted to go to Mexico. And he asked me, "Went down there." He says, "Well, can we buy a Switchblade down here?" I said, "Buddy, you can buy Switchblade at Sprague's."
Right.
I don't know if that's I'm sure they have those kinds of things available at the SHOT Show.
I'll tell you, I did talk to my good friend, who runs Knife Rights, and he told me a sad tale about how the Trump administration filed a brief on their lawsuit to get rid of the federal Switchblade ban on interstate commerce in it.
There's still a ban? I didn't even know that still existed.
Yes, there is. I mean, and he has been his whole organization, Knife Rights, has been extremely effective in getting rid of Switchblade laws and restrictions on the carry of knives. I think they have like something like 15 states they've been able to get laws enacted to do away with these really silly restrictions. And so, but the current federal lawsuit just had the Department of Justice issue a amicus. It wouldn't have been an amicus brief. It was a briefing in the case, and it's against the federal government, so they're a party. And so, but it said, well, switchblades are uniquely concealable.
Well, how?
Yeah, but you put them in your pocket, but you put a pistol in your pocket too, and pistols are protected under the Second Amendment from the Heller decision in 2008.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was a silly argument. I'm not sure. Doug Ritter is my friend's name. We talked about it and tried to figure out what the motivation of the department was. Was it just an oversight? Was it just that they were trying to make the argument so silly they would lose? Was it something that they know the Supreme Court will only take a couple, 2, maybe 3 Second Amendment cases on any given year? And so they didn't want to, quote, use one of those on a knife case. I don't know. We couldn't figure it out. We just speculated. And so, yes, in most states you can buy switchblades, and in most states now you can carry them. And I'd have to look, but I think in the 29 constitutional carry states you can carry a knife in your pocket too. I mean, who thought you couldn't? But the federal law was specifically on switchblades, and it is being challenged. But doesn't look really good because it's going to take a long time. It's going to take years for this court case to wind its way, and you have no guarantee that the Supreme Court will even decide to hear it.
Yeah, I thought it was gone.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because we've been winning a lot of cases in a lot of places, and we've changed the law. Well, I should say that Knife Rights did it, and Doug Ritter deserves a lot of credit. But there are still places like New York City where it's illegal to have a switchblade knife, and
because they filmed West Side Story there,
Yeah, right, exactly, and that's I think, and the history shows that was probably one of the instrumental things in getting this federal law passed. A fictional play about fictional characters doing fictional things.
Yeah. So we got to get rid of it. I read that Trump is making huge splashes, probably irritation for some European countries and some other things. I mean, they just they don't like that U.S. has become a little more demanding. But he's starting a peace conference or something, some kind of peace panel, and he invited Putin.
Oh yeah, I read a little article about that, and I'm trying to think. It was. I'm not sure where that was. It was about Syria, I think.
No, it was about Gaza. Well, same area.
Okay, yeah, Gaza. Well, I probably thought Syria because of Putin. And the Russians highly involved in Syria. Yes. Well, I thought that was a fairly smart move. I mean, if you can get the Russians to throw their weight behind this thing and participate in it and help guarantee the peace, I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad idea to me.
Putin wants recognition. He wants to be engaged. I mean,
exactly.
He's not in the G7 anymore. I don't think. I think they pushed him out of that for now. Why he's at war with Ukraine, but it's ruffling feathers. It's like, how dare you? What do you mean? How dare you? The United States has basically been pulling all the weight for NATO and the United Nations and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where we get vetoed and humiliated.
Well, what President Trump is this transactional guy. Yeah. And he's saying, well, if this works to get what we want, why shouldn't we do it? He's saying, you're saying some kind of protocol prevents me from doing this when it gets to where we want to be?
Yeah, we got to go through normal bureaucracy, normal channels. He says, no, we don't need to do that. I'll just do it.
Let's see what works.
Yeah.
And so I support him because he's gotten results.
He claims to have stopped 8 wars already. He's already stopped 8 wars, which is more than the United Nations. And he doesn't mind pointing that out, that they don't do anything.
Well, they spend a lot of money, and a lot of it goes into people's pockets who maybe aren't the ones we'd want it.
A lot of it's our money. In fact, a big chunk of it's our money.
Yes, you are correct.
And we don't have any say there, at all.
Well, we have some. We have veto power.
Yeah.
And we have, but it has become more and more anti-American.
Correct.
The UN has. It's become dominated by Muslim countries.
I think he's got great points, but I don't know that he's got great support in all of these. I mean, some people are very squeamish about saying we don't need NATO, that we don't need these kind of things. I mean, he's not getting this huge amount of Americans. I think it was like 15% that said something about getting out of NATO. 15% would want to do that in the United States.
I think you're correct. I'm not sure that Trump wants to get out of NATO.
No, but he's
to be reinvigorated and useful.
But he thinks that it's not working. It's 80 years old. It's not doing what it was to do. Well, we were supposed to combat the Soviet Union. Okay, it's gone. It's been gone for 35 years. And what are we doing now? And the people in NATO, which are our allies, don't do what's promised. They do not put the money into it. They let the United States do it.
Correct. And that's one of the reasons that they've been able to support their vast social welfare programs.
Well, we're seen as we're seen as the world cops for the Western world.
Yes. I call it I'd call it Pax Americana.
That's what it is,
the
isn't
peace enforced by the United States. And so that the sea lanes around the world are mostly peaceful and free of pirates, and you can trade.
Yeah.
And before that, we had Pax Britannica. This period of relative peace, including the Cold War and the relatively small wars like Korea and Vietnam and the Gulf Wars and such, those are relatively small wars in terms of American casualties. Sure, 50, 60,000 doesn't compare to 500,000 in World War II, more than 500,000 killed, I'm saying, for the U.S. And in World War II, we were one of the more successful combatants in keeping our casualty numbers down relatively. But what I'm saying is that during this period since World War II, the world has prospered like never before.
Right.
It's been one of the most, more people are living a higher standard of living without starving to death, with better medicine, better health than ever before in the whole history of the world. And a lot of it is due to Pax Americana allowing trade and across the entire world.
Yeah, but they've taken advantage of his point, and Trump's pointed that out with the tariffs. That was all upside down. They were blocking our trade, and we're buying their stuff. So he stopped all that, but now he's going after the NATO thing, which I find particularly because of Greenland. Greenland's in NATO. I don't know what they contribute, a couple dog sleds or something, but they're under the protection of us.
They first off, we have that big base in the very far north of Greenland.
Thule.
That's
a Air Force.
It used to be Thule, Thule, because that was the place that had been founded by an Arctic explorer up there, and he called it because that was the ends of the earth in mythology.
Really? End of the earth. My dad spent a year there. He would have probably he said that was probably true then. Yeah.
And so we have that base there, and it is run by Americans. I think it's owned. The name has been changed from Thule to some sort of Eskimo.
I'm running out of time, my friend. I got to run.
You have a good day.
You too, man. Go bye. Bye. I'll be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
Partly cloudy skies today, increasing cloudiness this evening. High today 75, low tonight 54. Sunshine and clouds mixed again on Thursday, high 75 tomorrow, partly cloudy and 53 tomorrow night.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service. Keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hansberger Refrigeration and Electric. Hansberger, count on us.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Are you looking for a new car? Well, we don't have it. How about a new cell phone? Don't have that either. At Firearms Unknown, we don't mix what we don't know with what we do know. We know firearms, knives, and ammo. So, if you know what you want, or even if you don't, Firearms Unknown can get you what you need. We have rifle, pistol, and shotgun deals starting at $9.99 for all three. Deals on guns and ammo and the largest knife section around, with the knowledge to set you up right. Firearms Unknown, 801 West 32nd Street or firearmsunknown.com. Now you know.
Today, we're talking with aphids and whiteflies about Safina insecticide from BASF.
We just got nailed with it.
So tell us, how you feeling?
Really, really weird.
And you still want to devour this field?
No way, bro.
There you have it, folks. Safina insecticide is specifically engineered to disorient aphids and whiteflies so they can't eat. And when they can't eat, they can't destroy.
Help protect your alfalfa from aphids with Safina insecticide. Always read and follow label directions.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure!
From the News 11's
News Talk
Information Desk, I'm
560
Juliana Aguilera.
KBLU.
A man accused
Yuma.
of
He's touting an American economic turnaround.
Growth like I believe you'll see very shortly our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before.
The president arrived at the World Economic Forum late after an electrical issue on Air Force One forced it to turn around last night. He had to take a second plane there. The president also just mentioned the operation that ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and saying now that the U.S. is ready to rebuild the oil industry there.
Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years.
He said that the day after the U.S. military seized a 7th oil tanker in the Caribbean, defying a quarantine set up by the president to control the shipment of Venezuelan oil. Now, Greenland will be a big issue at the forum. European leaders adamantly oppose a U.S. takeover, but the Treasury Secretary is urging them to
listen to his argument because I think they're going to be persuaded.
That's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also defending the president's threat to impose tariffs on some European countries that sent troops to Greenland to support NATO ally Denmark, which controls the territory now.
For those countries to activate their troops, I'm not sure what signal that's supposed to send. It seems pretty quixotic to me.
It's been 2 weeks since the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis sparked an even angrier protest over immigration raids and an outcry from Democratic leaders in the state. Attorney General Pam Bondi went there and told Fox,
people will be held accountable. I'm not referring to those subpoenas that people said they received. I'm not going to talk about that, but this state is a mess right now.
You heard the Attorney General there say she wouldn't expand on the subpoenas. They were issued to the offices of 6 Minnesota officials, including Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Fry, for possibly impeding federal immigration enforcement in this state with their anti-ICE rhetoric.
Fox's bad fit in Minneapolis. America's listening to Fox News.
Welcome to the most wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, scream in terror, and start looking for new ways to save money. If that's you, why not cut your wireless bill in half with a saver plan from Pure Talk? You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super fast 5G network for just $20 a month. Ho, ho, ho. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you switch in minutes. Again, talk, text, and data for just $20 a month.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry. Terry! Terry! Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Juliana Aguilera. A man accused of a fatal stabbing in Yuma has been sentenced. 46-year-old Charlie Vega was sentenced to 16 years for second-degree murder last Thursday. He was accused of fatally stabbing 30-year-old Ryan Gene Simmons in Yuma in May of last year. Plus, a woman accused of a hit-and-run in Yuma that hospitalized a man in April of 2025 has taken a plea deal. 21-year-old Nancy Antonio pled guilty last week to leaving the scene of an accident. Under the plea agreement, Antonio faces a presumptive sentence of 3.5 years in prison with a minimum of 2.5 years and a maximum of 7 years. No probation will be granted. Her sentence is scheduled on February 27th. Antonio's co-defendant, 24-year-old Israel Preciado, was sentenced to 36 months of probation for tampering with physical evidence. Catch us on TV site on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
Progressive presents Employee Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge.
over Terry.
Terry, Terry.
Keep awkwardly
Terry,
chanting your own name, Terry. You
Terry.
deserve it.
Woo!
Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you, and I have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Wow, I got on the phone and dialed, and here I am.
Really quickly. How are you, sir?
I'm here to give some more humor for you, Russ.
All right.
All right. Well, I've always talked about you got to have history. You got to know your history. You got to look at history, because if you don't study history, history will repeat itself and it's going to bite you in the booty. Correct, Russ?
Yeah, hopefully we learn from it.
Right. So what I want to know, Russ, the humor for today, and I know you're gonna have a flashback. I'm gonna give you a flashback, Russ.
Okay.
Okay. Miss Sunny Huston has said if voter ID is required, Trump will keep a lot of black people and women from voting. Have we heard that before, Russ?
I've heard something very similar to that. Yeah, I mean that's been the
long
stick.
Ago?
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Was it Trump's first time, or was it another Republican that wanted voter ID? Was it Ronald Reagan that did this, or is it George Bush?
It's been going on, but voter ID has become in some states not required, which is ridiculous, and
which is really ridiculous, and we get a lot of bad people voting more than once. But that's part of the history that I talk about.
Sure.
Here she is again. But what I want to know, what I want somebody to tell her is, show me how. Show us how it's going to be.
Well, we just need to trust everybody. They're all going to do the right thing, and we know that's a lie. It's not true. They're not. It's going to leave open to fraud and open to problems.
But don't we need voter ID for Social Security? Don't we need voter ID to buy alcohol? Don't we need voter ID to get a driver's license?
Well, you need identification for everything, pretty much. Right. Even to get into a DNC convention, you need an ID.
Well, you need an ID to get a GOP convention too.
Well, I'm just saying it's the DNC that says we don't need one for voting, but they require it when they go.
I apologize for that.
Well, that's fine.
But what I'm saying, look at history. We had this propaganda before.
Sure.
And here it is again. The snake is showing its head again. But again, we need to question her. Show us how. Show us how it's going to hurt and why does she? And she says black people and women. Well, how about white people? How about brown people?
Well, I think it's insulting to say that black people can't find their way to find an ID because they have a checking account, or they're in school, or they have a car, they have a driver's license.
Or they got a cash to check.
So what percentage of these black people don't have IDs? Give me a number. What's their percentage?
Give me a number. And why is it just black people?
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting is, why is it just black people?
Well, that's a go-to to say it affects minorities more, and we're just uncaring people if we don't recognize it.
Right. I understand that, but I'm asking her, why just black people?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see her answer it. I think you're on the right track. Let's see her answer it.
And I got my other humor for today.
Yeah.
I got to get my notes. You know who William Kelly is? Right.
William Kelly? Mark Kelly?
No. William Kelly. He's the paid protester.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, he's front page news. He's one of the guys that broke into the church. He's been tagged.
Okay.
He's been tagged in many other riots or protesting. He's a professional protester. He is paid to protest.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got to have a job.
Yeah, and he was along with what's his name, Don Lemon. Well, they've said that they're going to prosecute him. Well, he has said he is known on computer as the woke farmer. And
He's a farmer?
Well, that's just what his name is on Facebook. The woke farmer.
Most farmers I know don't have time to go out and protest that much.
Exactly. Well, he tells DOJ, come on, come after me. I'm ready. I'm waiting for you. So to me, he's saying that he's telling me, come on, I got lawyers. I got paid lawyers that are ready to, fight you.
Wow.
That's my interpretation of him telling DOJ, come on, come after me. I'm ready. I dare you.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna pay a price, hopefully, because
and again, here's another guy, just like Don Lemon and all them. Let's see what happens to them. Let's see what happens to the mayors. Let's see what happens to the governor. There was something. And my other funny for today is, I guess, high school in Sunny Slope, Sunnyvale, something like that. They allowed the students to leave school and protest.
Oh yeah, I got a story on that. Principals were pushing kids to protest. It's just so set up. It's just, it's not, there's nothing spontaneous, but we've got such great communications with cell phones and all those apps and stuff that.
But again, what we should do is round a lot of students up, okay, and have them come up to the microphone and ask them, so why are you against ICE?
Yeah.
Give me your reason why you don't like what ICE is doing. Do you know what ICE is all about? Ask them these questions. See, we need to get down basics. We need to get down to basics, Russ, and ask these students, well, describe to me what ICE is doing wrong. Do you know why ICE was there to begin with?
Sure. That's great. They were formed in 2002. I mean, Trump did not invent ICE because we had a problem of illegals that they get into the country, and Border Patrol needs to stay out on the border areas and prevent more. So they got ICE to chase down the ones that slip by and are creating havoc. Yeah.
Mr. Russ, didn't Obama give Holman a medal?
Yeah, presidential medal because he deported 400 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, we should be telling these people, hey, do you guys realize Obama gave him a medal?
That's so hypocrisy, such hypocrisy that you point out, and it's kind of crazy that they were cheering for Obama and now they're booing Trump for the same activities.
Well, the reason they're cheering Trump, no matter what Trump does, if Trump was to cure cancer, they'd still find ways to disgrace him.
So how can you take them seriously when they scream at ICE when wasn't that long ago, Obama, the president, that was like 2015, gave Kelly a medal for doing what he's doing now.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. And again, to me, we should be rounding these students up and even people, and ask them, well, what is he doing wrong?
Well, they won't talk to you. They just say he's a fascist, don't you know?
Oh, I know that, but that's what we should do and bring him,
Yeah.
Because that's the only way we're gonna stop all this, because they are paid. There's a lot of them are paid, and there was people protesting yesterday, and this woman had her sign out there, waving her sign, and it was upside down. She put her sign on upside down, or they gave it to her that way. But
well, they're making $1. That's that's what it is, and I don't really think they know what they're talking about. I don't think.
Just like that gentleman that I talked with the other day, I go, show me what he's doing wrong. Show me. Well, if you don't know, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. Show me your reasons why.
Not a lot of logic. And I've been reading a little bit of this Kelly while you're on the phone. I looked him up real quick. Not a lot of logic with him either.
Oh no, he's just a thug.
Yeah,
he's a thug. He's a wannabe. He's definitely a wannabe, and he's learned he must practice that look in the mirror. the look of intimidation, and that's what I used to tell people. Anyway, you practice that look at night every night. That mean look, you know, I'm going to kill you look. Do you actually practice that, or is that just natural?
I don't think he intimidates me, but
you know, well, he and everybody, and then again, we're far away from him. We're not in front of him.
He's trying to look mean or something, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's trying to look mean. That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, those are my humors for this morning.
Thank you, sir.
And like I said, show me, lady, show me how you're not going to be able to do anything, how you're not going to be able to vote because you don't have an ID, or I'm requiring you to have an ID.
Yeah.
Show me.
It's unfortunately an ongoing thing with the voter fraud, but we need to button it up, and we need to button it up in Arizona, and with our governor that we've got right now.
Oh,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
She just keeps vetoing voter reform. She's anti-voter reform.
Well, she's proud of all her vetoes. She has the most vetoes of any governor we've ever had.
Yeah, she made the record books.
Yeah, is that 38, 40 vetoes now, or is that much more than that?
Oh, it's much more.
Much more? Okay. Yeah. I remember the last one was 38. But yeah, well, that's what she's proud of. And then again, how did we get elected? You know, was it the machines again? You know, it's just strange that she got elected with all the adversities with her dad.
Yeah,
one of those things. And we had to leave. We have a big thing coming up. Our daughter's coming into town, so Mama wants the house all painted and stuff. So that's where we left last night to get supplies.
She did 143 in her first year.
143.
Yeah.
Oh, Mom.
And then more in 24. She did 185.
Oh, way past 38.
Yeah, man. 38's just a good morning for her. That's all.
Yeah, and she's proud of it. You know, it really is. How about her water reform in the state of Arizona? What's going on with that?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. All right, Russ. I thought I'd give you some humor this morning.
Take care, man.
Bye. Bye.
That's Mr. Gilbert. The phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. I do want to talk a little bit about NATO. And this one article I read this morning, it says it's American taxpayers that are subsidizing Europe's welfare program. And Europe has an extensive welfare program and stuff they call like free healthcare and stuff. Let me take a phone call first, though. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ. How are you doing?
We're doing well, Ted.
Yeah, he's going to reform the UN and NATO. That's his plan.
I think it needs to be done. And I know it makes people squeamish because they don't understand it. I don't fully. But from what I do understand, NATO's 80 years old, and we formed it 1949 when the world was a different place.
Right. It's being taken over by the Islamics. Yeah. He knows it. He's going to fix it. He better fix it.
Right.
Because the the front door mat's going to get pulled out from under him.
Well, it was to protect everybody against the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Which they disbanded in 1991, 35 years ago. And Russia is still a bad boy out there. They're still a bully and all that kind of stuff, but nothing like the fear of the Soviet Union when it was back there.
Well, I'm hoping that he'll bring Putin into Gaza and we'll make it Gaza Royale.
Okay.
We'll make it Gaza Royale.
I'd be curious if he even joins that thing. I don't know. He wants to be noticed, though, so he wants to belong. He wants to be, in the world leaders organizations, and because of the war in Ukraine, it's cut him back. So he may go do that, just be on equal footing, as long as he gets a guarantee he won't be arrested if he walks into a meeting room. Some countries had said they would arrest him.
Always keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Always keep your enemies closer.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Constantly stinging them like a hornet's nest hasn't worked. So try something new.
And they've been weakened greatly. They know they've been weakened. They won't admit it. but this war in Ukraine has really sapped the Russian people. Their inflation is really high. They're out of gas in a lot of places. Shelves are empty at some grocery stores. So, they're really feeling the heat. And he can't keep going like this. I mean, I know he doesn't care about his people, and I know we're used to suffering, type stuff, but this is just unreasonable.
Yeah, well, a lot of it, they brought it on themselves.
Sure.
They had opportunity after the Second World War to join us to revitalize the planet, and just some unscrupulous thugs took control of the government over there.
Russia had 25 million dead in World War II. 25 million.
I know.
And so they're kind of like, well, that's, Ukraine's nothing. But their population has not soared either. Did you know that? I mean, since World War II, their population's actually on a decline.
Like I said, they had too many thugs high up. They threw too much into their militaristic ways, trying to, who knows, protect the thugs that were just looting the economy of Russia.
Right. Oh, they're still doing it.
Right. And until we can balance this out, I guess we can bow to the Danish cheese and we don't get Greenland. I mean, what's going on here? Take it. Just take it.
They're talking awful tough. I don't have any answers for that, but it's amazing that how tough they're all talking, and France and all. He's really snubbing him. Some of these European countries are just pissed, or just like, how dare United States throw its weight around.
Well, maybe Donald needs to slap the president of France like his wife did.
Oh, that'd be cool. No, he just said, well, no one listens to him. He's going to be out of office soon. Like, wow. That's pretty tough. So he's in Davos now, but I tell you, when he walks in a room, the temperature changes. It's a big deal. It's not like it was at all. I mean, he's really put America on a different level. The United States is on a different level, and there's some people that don't like it, Dad. There's some people that think, well, we shouldn't be tough. We should be, wear flowers in our hair and be nice and give people what they want, and we'll just pay more taxes.
No more Jane Fonda. Stop talking that.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
No, I think he, how they always say he's good at 4-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
We're going to get one of two things here. Either we get Greenland, or they're going to put a massive troops deployment over there to make sure that it stays protected against China and Russia. One of the two. They're going to have to do one of the two. Give it to us.
Well,
sell it, however, or troop it up.
And that's exactly what Trump has been talking about, is China and Russia. But I never knew there was a fear. It was never a headline. It was never out there. But it is a fact that China didn't have any Arctic icebreakers just a few years ago. Now they got 30. And they're heavily invested now. Want to be known for a nation that's in the Arctic like Russia. Russia has them. We only have like, what is it? Do we have 4 or 2? I mean, we're making 6 more. I know right now, but trying to catch up a little bit.
Hey, China just put out that big aircraft carrier that's the size of a city.
It's big. I don't think it's bigger than ours, is it?
It's big. It's really big.
Well, and big doesn't matter as much as what's the tech and how advanced and all that kind of stuff. Those are not easy things to just make and have it work well. I mean, we've gone through a lot of struggles.
I think it was more of a who's got the bigger gun. You know what I mean?
Well, that doesn't count for that much.
who's got the bigger show? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We could do this. How about you? Well,
yeah.
Smaller things have sank.
It's
bigger ships than that.
It's amazing how few aircraft carriers there are in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We own most of them.
Right.
I think it's 11 or 12. I'm not sure exactly.
Anymore, it's not even that necessary with drones. I mean, Ukraine has got something. Ukraine has got something there worth protecting, and that is their drone production. Putin knows it. We know it. They're top of the line in drone production.
Well, the China aircraft carrier is 1,000 feet long, which is smaller than the Gerald R. Ford.
Yeah, but I think it's wider. I think it's wider and more capacity, internal capacity.
It's the technology. It's what's it capable of doing, how fast, how rapidly, how accurate. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah, so theirs is bigger. Yeah. We'll see if it's as effective. Don't know.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't run over that chain, they're going to run across the straits down there to keep us out.
And I'm just looking at this real quick. The Chinese carry, it's big, but they're not saying how many planes it can carry. But the experts looking at it are saying it's somewhere 40 to 60. Ours does 60 to 70, even though they're smaller. Like I said, it's not necessarily the size I wouldn't think. But who knows what else it does? I don't know.
All right.
But France has like one, and according to Trump, it doesn't work very well. And then Russia has one that's been in dry dock for 10 years or something.
Anymore, like I say, the drones and some of the aircraft that's produced now that we may or may not know about being produced over there is the way to go. I mean, when you put those big ships out there, they're like sitting targets in the ocean. Yeah. They have to defend themselves and do the missions that they're commissioned to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you say they're targets, but look, they got a whole fleet around them that's got more protection than we can imagine. I don't know that makes them, completely safe with no questions. But they've got assets all around them. You'd be crazy to attempt to do something to an aircraft carrier. I mean, the Houthis and stuff throw a little stuff at them, and they just destroy the Houthis. But I don't know if a world power threw a hypersonic missile at them. According to Russia, there's no way that the United States could stop it, and it would just destroy the aircraft carrier, and it's worthless. But I don't know.
Right. Well, we do have at least one thing circumventing the planet way up there in space that could probably stop anything if they really wanted to.
What?
A laser.
We don't have anything up there.
We have a particle laser that's up in the atmosphere. Originally, that's what I told you. The shuttle was built to put those up into space. And we have a laser up there that can burn up anything on ground level.
I've never heard of it, but anything's possible. No.
We have a laser circumventing the planet that could melt anything you can see on the surface.
See, I find that hard to believe because the power it takes to do a laser like that, where's it getting its power? I mean, we didn't throw a nuclear plant up there with it, to my knowledge.
There's other power sources.
Okay, all right. I don't know.
It got this long extension cord that goes up there. Russ.
Maybe. That's the way it works.
It's there, believe me. That laser.
There's a laser
up there.
Okay.
A particle laser in orbit.
All right. They have a hard time putting one on an aircraft.
It's there.
Yeah. Okay. You'd have to show me, but I don't. I
don't have it.
Let me. I'll Google it.
I'll
see if AI.
I don't have anything to get you there.
Yeah. Well,
Musk has got the rocket. Let him show you.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask Musk. I wish I could get him on the phone. So far, been unsuccessful.
He's hiding.
Not hiding from me. All right, we'll see you later. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
As Miss Ted, we'll take a break and be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
Hello, my name is Denise Coronado, Director of Volunteer Services. Hospice of Yuma is thrilled to be the first hospice organization in Yuma County and one of 9 in the state of Arizona to achieve the Level 5 We Honor Veteran status. This honor reflects years of dedicated efforts by staff and volunteers to meet veterans' needs. We're committed to providing the highest level of care and support to veterans and their families. To become a vet-to-vet volunteer or for more information about Hospice of Yuma services, please call our office at 928-343-2222 or visit our website at hospiceofyuma.com.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
There's a man in D.C. He stands.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you. I want to mention, before I go into NATO a little bit more, and I want to talk about some of the things we do for Europe that probably is invisible to most of us. But last night, GOP meeting, monthly meeting, was just excellent. I just want to mention it. But Kimberly Yee, and she is currently our state treasurer. Kimberly Yee was in town, and she probably spoke for 20, 25 minutes, but excellent. And she's running for education superintendent for the state, which, was part of her passion. She explained that last night. Really excellent. And Keith Ware got up and talked about the Yuma Elementary School District 1, which he currently holds a seat in on the board, and wants to be reelected, and talked about accomplishments of just common sense thing. It's the first board in Yuma County that has made sure we're not going to have boys in the girls' room, girls in boys' room and stuff. For some reason, our boards in Yuma County refuse to address the issue. Say, well, we don't need a policy. The boys and girls will figure it out on their own, which has not happened, I guess. It hasn't done that. But meeting tremendously well attended. Tanya Wright did a lot of the organization for it. In fact, probably most of it. but really informative, helpful, talking about what's going to be happening this year. Look, we're in an election year. And so there were probably 80 people there, 60 to 80 people. I didn't count them, but I know every chair was taken. And I know, well, we had about 80 chairs. So most every chair was taken, some skipped, but there were many people standing on top of that. So quite a crowd, quite a success. A lot of networking too. I mean, people talk before and afterwards. A lot of elected officials there that were accessible and that you could talk to. And, Kimberly Yee stood around for a while and was able to talk to some folks that had questions about her candidacy or about the treasurer, as well as Keith Ware, who's very, very available and has been. And he even had Stoner, Jeff Stoner, and his wife came, and of course they're on the board, but it came as support and all that kind of stuff. So I'm seeing a lot of great things with that, with the GOP party locally, and the amount of work being put in. But this weekend will be a state meeting, statewide, state committeeman, which I'm one. I'll have to go to Prescott on Saturday morning. In fact, it starts at 8:00, so I got to get there early. But and that's where we work on bylaws, agendas, and then voting for leadership for the next couple of years. It's that time again to get up and do that. So a large contingent from Yuma will be going up there. We have quite a few state committeemen for a small county, particularly. And that's all based on how many precinct committeemen we have here locally. And we need more. And that came up last night, in that precinct committeemen is limited. You can only have so many committeemen for each district, but we don't come close to maxing it all out, which I don't think many people do. There's some districts that are maxed out that, you have 10 committeemen in there, and that's a lot of opportunity to learn more, do more, and to help out with the voting and get that done. And it's an election. I mean, you have to go out and get somewhere around 10 signatures, we think. We don't know the exact number, but it's going to be 10 of fellow Republicans in your neighborhood, in your committee, in your precinct. And it goes through regular voting and all that. And then you're officially is a local committeeman. And then you get an opportunity to go to state committee if you want to. There's a lot of people that can't do it. So there's always people that are, there's always availability, I think, on those kind of things. Yeah, usually if you really want to go, because I think 1 in 3 goes. So there's usually a lot of people that just can't take that time off, can't get up there and can't do that. So there's opportunities. So check with the Yuma County Republican Party here in town. There's a website, Yuma County Republican Party. Take a look at that and see if it's something you'd be interested in. There's always a lot to do. NATO's Dirty Little Secrets, the name of the article I'm looking at. And with NATO being around 80 years and we're a different world, different thing. We've continued to expand NATO. In fact, and it's just interesting. I don't think it's wrong necessarily, but we've added 16 new nations to NATO since the Soviet Union folded. Well, and the Soviet Union was the rationale behind NATO is that the Soviet Union was so huge and NATO was a counterbalance of that. Not that anybody trusts Russia. Russia, Putin has come out and said he wants to, build back the team. That's why he's in Ukraine and all that. And this article kind of pushes Ukraine aside as being a sovereign nation, saying, they've been fighting back and forth for decades, let it happen type attitude. We shouldn't be involved. And I don't know that I fully agree, disagree. But I think it's rough business to say it's a European country like Poland and Romania and other, we can't just say go away. And Poland, of course, is in NATO. So they've got protection. And the protection of NATO is that, if one member is attacked by a foreign government in NATO, then all the NATO members come to their aid. That's, like having friends in jail. Of course, now amongst NATO, they're mad at Trump for saying he wants to occupy Greenland or have Greenland be part of the United States. And Greenland's a NATO nation, by the way. It is. It's even though it has less residents in a nation 3 times the size of Texas than Yuma, Arizona. Like it has half of the city of Yuma as residents. And it's 3 times the size of Texas. Well, you can hide there. They can't find you. Of course, Greenland's covered with ice mostly, and so it's the coastal areas that pretty much have dominance. Something I didn't realize about Russia. Russia population has shrunk by roughly 3 to 5 million. It's a 2 to 4% decline during since the breakup of the Soviet Union. But according to this article, where the U.S. population has grown by 95 million. I guess, alcoholism is this article links to that. Maybe I know there's vodka is plentiful. It points out Russia's economy is small, oil dependent. It's as small as about 3 states. Yeah. It doesn't mean they're not dangerous because they are. They're crazy. The part where it says Americans are paying for NATO in foreign countries, it points out that in Germany, which is the wealthiest nation in the United Nations, they spend about 2% of its GDP, 2% on defense, which NATO agreed to 4 to 5 or something, and they're not doing it. Although Trump has pushed them into that to do more. But they spend about $100 billion annually on defense when it should be $200 billion probably. At the same time, they spend 12% of their GDP on healthcare because they're more socialist. I think. I mean, we probably spend as much on healthcare as they do. I mean, government-wise, but they spend 12% with $500 billion per year on healthcare, and it's pointed out in this article that's they can do that. They can do those things. They can pay that money for healthcare because the United States subsidize them, which I didn't know. Well, what he's talking about is our U.S. troops stationed in Germany. There's a lot of money that flows into Germany because of the United States. So I think they put that list here of about 90 to 100 billion a year. If we left, if the American soldiers and airmen withdrew from Germany and they had to fend for themselves and build their own military versus leaning on the United States military, which is constantly present in Germany. I mean, in fact, if you know military members, and many have been stationed in Germany and tell you how much they love it. And they love the countryside and going to some of the beer fests and all that stuff. I get a lot of stories from military men that spends a lot of time in Germany because they're stationed in Germany. Well, how many military bases in the United States are there that are stationed by a foreign country? I don't know of any. I don't think it exists, but we do that regularly. We have, my son was stationed in Japan. He's now stationed in Sicily. I guess because we're seen as a world force and other countries don't see themselves as that. We've got 11 aircraft carriers that sail the world. I mean, we're spending a lot of money to prop up all these other countries, which combined, Europe has more GDP than we do as the United States. They don't have more military. They just have more GDP, but they have our military that's stationed in their countries, spending dollars like crazy, and enjoying themselves and the hospitality and all that. And but this article points out that if we pulled those things out and they had to fend for themselves, things would change. So they're living off United States. Number one, putting the military there so they don't have to, which they're supposed to anyway, but they don't. And number two, all the money we spend there. And if we pulled out, they would have to change their entire structure. It says here, if we left, if we departed, it would require Germany to spend another $340 billion per year, which would be 20% of the total European Union healthcare budget, healthcare spending. But it would have to be offset. But it says NATO's not merely a security alliance; it's a massive American taxpayer-funded subsidy for Europe's welfare state. This is the dirty secret no one in Brussels wants to discuss. Every time a German walks into a free clinic or a Frenchman is wheeled into an operating room, roughly €1.05 is effectively paid by you and me. Didn't look at it that way. We obviously have all those bases over there. We obviously spend a ton of money over there. We're, I guess, very generous. And I think Trump is putting light on all of that, on how much we do for you. What have you done for me other than block Greenland? And I imagine, he's at Davos and a lot of that's going to come up. And the Europeans are already bristling about it. They want us to stand in line. We're not even in their hemisphere, but neither is Greenland. Is not in that hemisphere. It's in the Western Hemisphere. It's actually a neighbor of ours. We'll be right back.
Partly cloudy skies today, increasing cloudiness this evening. High today 75, low tonight 54. Sunshine and clouds mixed again on Thursday, high 75 tomorrow. Partly cloudy and 53 tomorrow night.
We want to hear from you. Horizon West invites you to join us on January 28th, anytime between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Yuma Civic Center for an open house to learn about the proposed Ironwood transmission line in Yuma County. Project representatives will be available to answer your questions and receive your input about the project's proposed route. We look forward to seeing you between 5 and 7 p.m. at the Yuma Civic Center. For more information, visit ironwoodtransmission.com.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. America's 250th anniversary is coming up fairly quickly. And the American Automobile Association has put out a article that says, make your reservations already if you're going to do it. Because the vacations for the 250th anniversary are going to crowd out probably. There's going to be a lot of attendance, a lot of interest to go to Philadelphia and some of the Washington, D.C. and those kind of things. So a spokesperson is already saying, we recommend travelers identify which event they want to attend or site they want to visit. Book early. Don't wait till the last minute to buy flights or reserve hotels. Probably true. So if you're headed out to the East Coast and go out where, the country started, I'm not going. It's going to be a madhouse. It would be fun, but a madhouse. But you want to see some of the history, then now's the time to do it. They mentioned a few of the things that would go on. The Wawa Welcome America Festival. Yeah, that's Wawa, W-A-W-A. That, I guess that's named after the Wawa stores. Yeah, it's convenience stores. It's a 16-day celebration beginning June 19th and lasting through July 4th. This once-in-a-generation experience will feature events that Philadelphians have come to know and love, just bigger and better, including concerts on Independence Mall, fireworks, displays, block parties, Wawa Hoagie Day, a parade representing all states and territories. Wow, Wawa's got to be a big thing. I guess they're sponsoring this thing. Museum of the American Revolution. I've never been there. It's in Philadelphia. It's an exhibit that traces how the direct Declaration of Independence inspired similar movements around the world, which we know it did. And let me see, just outside Augusta, Georgia is Meadow Garden, home to George Walton, which I don't know much about George, but it's been open to the public since 1901, making the property one of the oldest house museums in the United States. And it's featured on the America 250 list by AAA. So, and I didn't even know American Automobile Association still was around. I mean, before GPS, it was a big deal because you could be a member and go there and get these trip nicks or maps and stuff and try to figure out how to get places. So we used them. Now I don't know what they do other than put out articles to go visit places. By the way, George Walton was a signer on the Declaration of Independence. This article also points out there's writers like Write Like a Signer, which means I'm sure the signer of the Declaration of Independence. So young visitors can try their hand at quill writing. I've never done that. I imagine it's close to the same. It's just not going to have an automatic inkwell. Emerson Colonial Theater in Boston will showcase a historic opera from April 24 to May 3rd. The Daughter of the Regiment. It's a story behind Deborah Sampson of Massachusetts, who disguised herself as a man to join the fight for independence. Wow, started back then. 3 events that AAA has spotlighted in the nation's capitals. Started with an AI display, artificial intelligence, right? The American Story, the National Archives Museum, will offer a journey through 250 years of history. Now, that would be interesting. I'd like to see that. Why, the National Ball has already kicked off the year with illuminations of the Washington Monument. You may have seen that already. They started playing with that already, where they're illuminating with, lights, the Washington Monument, depicting scenery and flags and all kinds of stuff on them. Smithsonian Folklife Festival will take place June 18th to June 12th. And if you haven't been to the Smithsonian, take a week out of your life and go spend it there. But Smithsonian National Museum of American History will feature various displays and stuff. Again, it would be fun to do during the 4th of July celebration, but man, it's going to be a madhouse. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Well, good morning. How are you doing today?
We're doing well. Good morning, man.
You were talking about Katie Hobbs earlier, I guess. Gilbert was, or somebody?
Gilbert mentioned about how many vetoes, but it was a lot more than Gilbert thought.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, we were talking about that. I've been on your show for the last couple of years complaining about all these farmers that are pumping this water out of the ground.
Sure.
Okay. Well, she put a stop to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she signed something. I don't know. I can't
2
tell you
weeks
exactly
ago.
what's in it, but there was
2 weeks ago.
Pardon me?
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
They made those Saudi farmers that are using our water to grow their product to send to their country that we don't get. She put a stop to that groundwater pumping. It's literally the ground starting to sink over there, and that's down by Wickenburg area below there. So they were pumping a hell of a lot of it, and she finally did something. So kudos to her for that, because that's our water. That's our backup water. If you want to live in your country, go use your own water to grow your own hay and feed your own cattle.
Yeah.
So just thought I'd let you know. I know we talk about it all the time, and last time I talked about it, you had 1 million people called in and give your ideas about water, but the bottom line is that they're not pumping it out anymore, and that's a stop, and that's a good thing. So I just thought I'd let you know. Maybe your fact checker can give you all the details on it. If not, I'll be happy to send you everything that I have on it.
It's Senate Bill 1425.
I'm not even gonna pretend that I know what bill number it is. All I know is that she stopped it. So what does the bill read?
It says it's going to create 5-person councils in each water management program. Council members will be selected by the Arizona Senate president, and legislation is meant to protect rural communities' groundwater from being overpumped by out-of-state corporations that previously have used water to export crops back to their company's primary operational hub. So it's going to put the panel together to.
They're not pumping. They put at least something. One good thing is they talk about it and put a panel together. They're not pumping water right now.
Okay. Well, the act also provides funding for water conservation with dedicated money to support voluntary water conservations, aquifer recharge, and water reuse programs in rural areas. And it's all about the rural areas. I haven't seen anybody pumping water in the city for the farms, but I would imagine the farms are in the rural area. But go ahead. I just know that they're not pumping water. There's a cease. Maybe while they put a panel together, maybe while they do whatever, but it's a growing concern, and it has been for years. For years, the state of Arizona there was supposedly some big housing development that was going to bring some 150 to 250,000 homes in, and they couldn't even get their permits for that. Of course, it is the political season right now, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of black money or dark money or something to get to throw on both sides of the aisle to see who's going to win, so they can have some control, so that way they'll know who is to get their housing developments done. That happened. 2 years ago, 4 years ago. They were throwing money like crazy. I mean, I was just watching everybody's treasure chest fill up of donations of money coming from these little companies and these other little companies that spur out, but it's all coming from the same pocket, just because they max out on how much they can give. And they were giving money to everybody, to every district, whether you're Republican or Democrat, and they were all taking it because they figured they would have some control over to be able to continue to pump our water, or be able to give them the right to build the houses, even though they knew that the water wasn't available to support the houses they're putting up. But the bottom line is, whoever, the water is not being pumped at all right now, and that's pretty cool. Yep.
Somebody had some backbone to do something like that. I mean, somewhere along the line, that water is going to affect me and you. That comes out of the ground in the state of Arizona.
Yeah, well, it got signed. I mean, I don't know who started the bill. I don't know enough about it, but got
Well,
done.
then you need to cancel the leases to these people and give them back their thing. And then I'm sure if there was a lawmaker that was stupid enough to give somebody a lease for $25 and then say, when you give us back the lease, we're going to pay you back for all the infrastructure you did in that property. That really wasn't a very smart person.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't see a lot of smart things sometimes. So, but I just thought I'd bring that up. So,
All right.
good job, Katie, on that one.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye. Clyde. Oh, and I just got a text from Rodney. Let's see, Rodney. But the text shows me a post that was put out by our Arizona Attorney General, Chris Mays, who says, for 1 year, my office has been fighting to protect Arizonans against the unconstitutional actions of this chaotic, destructive, and lawless administration. She's been wasting the money like crazy to go after Trump for political reasons, but she's proud of it. Yeah. Rodney Glassman, who's running for her job, but he has been talking about Chris Mays, and it's a disappointment. I hate to look at it sometimes because I look at all the money wasted by Arizona to sue Trump constantly, like all these other blue states that they feel like they have to sue Trump on stuff they know that they're not going to win anything. They just want to disrupt. And he says lawless president. What laws? I don't know. I don't know what laws he's broken. I wish they would keep a list so that we could follow it. Maybe on the Democratic website, I could suggest that. Say, look, could you put out a list of all the laws he's broken and is wanted for? But they throw lawless around a lot, and that he's breaking the law. But I don't know. I can't think of one. But if you do, let me know. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Russ.
Yeah, man.
Mays and Hobbs.
Yeah.
Between the vetoes and the lawsuits, that is mismanagement of the state.
Correct.
Plain and simple mismanagement.
Yeah, my opinion too. But you're going to say we should arrest them? No. Okay,
I
good.
think this should be pulled up on a carpet by the taxpayer and say, look, enough is enough. You don't own this state. You work for us.
Well,
no more lawsuits, no more vetoes. You do the right thing.
Yeah.
Or we'll find a way to spar you, sort of like.
Not an easy thing to do, but you can recall people, but there's not any cause for that. I mean, we don't agree, but they're giving us what we knew they would give us. This isn't a surprise. The voters put them in there, or voter fraud put them in there. I'm not sure which, but it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. I mean, we're getting what they are. We know what they are, and they're just anti-Trump, and they're going to sue Trump, and they're going to veto voter, anything to clean up the voter rolls or anything that's going to make give integrity to voting. Of course, we know that. We knew that when they go in. There's no surprise here. And yeah, I wish we could stand up and do something about it, but to think
less elections. Is there not some kind of path to fire the governor and the rest of them? Isn't there a path to that other than elections?
Yes. Governors have been, I don't know if they're impeached or what, but governors have been ousted in Arizona even. It's usually criminal. It's not. And this isn't criminal. This is just bad policy, bad politics. It's terrible, but it's not illegal. I mean, we should say it's lawless because that's what they say about Trump. Oh, it's lawless. Well, but it's really not. At least nothing I've seen is lawless, other than her overspending her budgets intentionally.
I understand that, and I'm not looking for criminal. If it's malfeasance of the job, there should be a path to just fire them.
Well, sure there is, But
and then put
but
the
you've got to come up
lieutenant
with but everyone it's a subjective thing is when you say malfeasance. You know, there's Democrats out there that think, my gosh, she's doing everything I wanted and more. She's wonderful.
There got to be a path forward to this. It's just because you can't wait sometimes for an election. Now, Trump's proved that. Sometimes you just can't wait for an election.
Yeah.
Due diligence comes with the job. And if they're not doing the due diligence of this taxpayer, fire them.
Well, that can be done. And it was Evan Meacham that was impeached in 1988. He was governor. Misuse of funds and obstruction of justice. And he was impeached and gone. It can happen. That's a pretty high bar. I don't know that you would get any support for that because look, they try to do that with Trump. They try to impeach him and all that over nonsense. So
this is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
Territory is the hot topic at the World Economic Forum. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland.
President Trump says the U.S. needs Denmark, a NATO ally, to give up control for national and world security.
This land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built.
That's the U.S. missile defense system he's planning.
But this would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO alliance. The United States is treated very unfairly by NATO.
But some NATO allies are pushing back, supporting Denmark, which says Greenland is not for sale. That has the president planning 10% tariffs on those European countries, which are considering a retaliation. President Trump also, in his speech in Davos, called again for Russia and Ukraine to stop their war.
And I'm dealing with President Putin, and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm dealing with President Zelensky, and I think he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today. He might be in the audience right now.
His special envoy, Steve Witkoff, plans talks today with Russia's leader. The president's done with his speech. He's now answering questions at the forum, and he told world and business leaders there.
Growth is exploding. Productivity is surging. Investment is soaring. Incomes are rising.
And he again urged the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates even more, hinting he'll soon nominate a new chairman to replace Jerome Powell, who the president is very critical of. Powell is now at the Supreme Court, where a Federal Reserve Board governor is asking justices to let her keep her job in a case being heard this hour about the limits of presidential power.
President Trump said he fired Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook for cause after the Federal Housing Finance Agency accused her of committing mortgage fraud. She sued, and she said she hasn't been charged with anything. Her name came up in another recent case when justices considered whether the president could fire an FTC commissioner without cause.
That's Jessica Rosenthal. America's listening to Fox News.
Welcome to the most wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, scream in terror, and start looking for new ways to save money. If that's you, why not cut your wireless bill in half with a saver plan from Pure Talk? You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super fast 5G network for just $20 a month. Ho, ho, ho. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you switch in minutes. Again, talk, text, and data for just $20 a month.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry. Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry, Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Jelena Aguilera. A man accused of a fatal stabbing in Yuma has been sentenced. 46-year-old Charlie Vega was sentenced to 16 years for second-degree murder last Thursday. He was accused of fatally stabbing 30-year-old Ryan Gene Simmons in Yuma in May of last year. Plus, a woman accused of a hit-and-run in Yuma that hospitalized a man in April of 2025 has taken a plea deal. 21-year-old Nancy Antonio pled guilty last week to leaving the scene of an accident. Under the plea agreement, Antonio faces a presumptive sentence of 3.5 years in prison with a minimum of 2.5 years and a maximum of 7 years. No probation will be granted. Her sentence is scheduled on February 27th. Antonio's co-defendant, 24-year-old Israel Preciado, was sentenced to 36 months of probation for tampering with physical evidence. Catch us on TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3".
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you, and I have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Hey, Russ, real good. Jesse, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jesse.
Just what you were talking about with the last call, that was Evan Meekum. That was Evan Meekum back in 88.
Yeah, man.
And he was a Republican, and he was a Mormon, very popular at the time of the election. But the left hated him. The Democrats nationally hated him. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Our state was in the spotlight because of the 49 continuous states, the 49 other states were all celebrating Martin Luther King Day as a state holiday, all of them except our state, Arizona. And so we had a negative spotlight. And the spirit became so great against him nationally that they were forced to act on it. So they were looking for anything. So I think that if the cheating of the ballots, the cheating of the elections, if it becomes so repugnant to America, I think then we would have a chance to go back to Katie Hobbs, and she would naturally have to leave. If it becomes so evident the emperor has no clothes. But it was an outside force that forced Arizona to impeach Evan Meekum.
Oh, really?
If you remember that.
I wasn't here then. I moved here in 95, but I heard stories about it.
Yeah.
You know, that it happened, but it says it was misappropriations, but I guess you could say that about Katie Hobbs easy, you know.
Yeah, but the catalyst was national because we were the only state that didn't celebrate Martin Luther King Day. So the whole nation was against him. It was it was like Newt Gingrich. Remember when Newt Gingrich nationalized the the midterms back in 96 with the contract with America? Sometimes that happens in our politics where it becomes national and it affects the state level.
Well, this one definitely did. I think he was the only one that actually got impeached, only governor of Arizona, anyway.
But it was the catalyst, and his hubris to the national outroar forced everybody to turn on him, and then he had his base, but he lost all the independents, all the Democrats, and but all of us who lived through that, we remember it. Because we were the only state that didn't celebrate. Just do a quick, if you can, a historical search, but that was the catalyst. I remember it clear as a bell. The catalyst was we didn't celebrate Martin Luther King. We were the last state to do it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thanks for the history.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, man, bye-bye. I did not know. I wasn't even in the state then. I think I was living in Denver during that time. Trump has unveiled a new healthcare plan. I just want to reiterate this a little bit after the phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ. Sorry to call, but I got the last bit of that about Martin Luther King. That and we couldn't get the Super Bowl in the state of Arizona until we celebrated Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, I remember that too. I'd forgotten, but yeah, that's right. They pulled the Super Bowl out of Phoenix because of it.
And how about those little pickaninnies?
Little what?
Pickaninnies.
What's that?
That's a term for little black kids. Meekum used that term, and that's what got him in. Excuse me?
I've never heard that, but okay.
Look it up and ask your face whatever it is. But he called these little kids pickaninnies, and that's a racial slur. You got to realize that he was also Mormon.
It doesn't sound positive. Yeah.
back in the days, Mormons believed that blacks were from Cain. They were from Abel and Cain. They were shot down to earth from God. Anyway, the long racial.
Well, that's a big mistake. Yeah, that's rude. Yeah.
That was back in the days, but yeah, he called the little kids little pickaninnies.
Yeah.
And went nuts, and that's how it started to get Meekum out of office. That and Martin Luther King Day. A little history.
Yeah, and I'm sure that national recognition didn't help.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. And you know, and like you said, we did have the Super Bowl, and then they took it away because of Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, that's the NFL. That's private business. They can do what they want.
Right. And I thought Martin Luther King was a great man. There's a lot of stories out there from the FBI and CIA that they said he did all this, but show me how pure JFK was. You know, if they're talking about Martin Luther King chasing women and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, how pure was JFK?
Well,
It's apples and apples, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there, but some of them may be true. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, you know, when they're talking about Martin Luther King and all these women, how about JFK with all these women?
Yeah.
What the hell? What is the heck the difference? And that's why I always harp on history. If we don't study history and we don't remember history, it's going to repeat itself.
Right.
And that's what's happening. Anyway, I thought I'd just call you up and let you know about pickaninnies.
Great. Glad I know. Thanks, man.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
There's Mr. Gilbert out there. Trump's unveiling, you know, healthcare plans, and I know there's questions about that. And part of his plan is not to do away with Obamacare because that's scares people. It's a bigger deal, but just to neuter it, you know, put policies out there that neuter it. And I'll tell you some of those after the phone call. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Russ.
Well, Jonathan, how are you?
Oh, just got back from being down there on the border.
What's going on the border right now? It's pretty boring, right?
Well, actually, we've got active Army deployed down there right now.
Where at? In which part? Like in Tucson?
Right there in Yuma.
In Yuma, okay.
Yes, sir. I sent you my broadcast. It was on Facebook as well. I sent it over to you.
Okay.
Anyways, we've got military personnel down there. This unit that I interviewed had 60 men in their unit, but they said there's other units up and down the border right now as well.
Okay.
So it's quite interesting what's going on down there right now.
So what are the troops on the border for? I mean, is it just around like where we don't have fencing?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right there from the tribal land on down.
Okay.
That whole stretch right there, they got military units there now.
Oh, that is new then, isn't it?
Yes, sir. You get a chance, check out the broadcast that I sent over to you.
Okay.
And for your viewing audience, you can jump on Jonathan Townsend Alexander. Check me out on Facebook, and you'll see my live broadcast from the other day, or on YouTube under Your News Arizona. But yeah, check it out, Russ. It's very interesting.
I just brought it up. I hadn't looked at it before, but it doesn't look like the military guys are shy about being interviewed. They didn't mind being talked to. That's nice.
No, we did a lot of talking off camera, by the way.
Good.
So I'm going to be back down there this next week. Love to come in and then take you down there with me. Because these guys are in Yuma for a period of time. In other words, they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
I would enjoy the trip, man.
So let's do it this next weekend. I'll take you on down there with me.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
But there's a lot of stuff happening that I'm not going to say on the live broadcast. But I'll call you a little bit later and we can go over it.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy.
All right, man. Bye bye.
Good talking to you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
As Jonathan. Yeah, Jonathan Townsend Alexander, and he's been going along the border for a long time. It's a lot different now under Trump. There's not massive numbers by any way. In fact, it's a net zero, but that doesn't mean there isn't activity that needs to be shut down, I imagine. With a net zero, meaning that if someone does come in, they send them back. Healthcare plans that Trump is and I don't get a lot of details yet, but some of the stuff he wants to do, which will kind of neutered the Obamacare, which is a terrible, unsuccessful program. He wants to reduce, prescription drug costs, and I know we've talked about it before, and it's a common sense thing. I mean, we pay much more for drugs than the same foreign countries pay from the same companies. I guess they cover the research and development costs with us or something, and the other countries play hardball and they say, no, we want this kind of pricing. And we don't do that. We just let the marketplace find its level, but the marketplace isn't being played fair because other countries take themselves out of the marketplace, and what's left is us to pay for all that R&D cost. Trump's basic theory is you're going to give us the best price you offer to anybody. Whatever that is, match it and give it to us. So if they decide to cut a country a deal and say you're only going to pay 10% of what America does, then they got to lower our price to that same, to matching price. I don't know that that's been in effect yet. I don't know how where it is, but another one is to reduce premium costs. And the way he wants to do that is price transparency and give the money to the people. He says, my plan will reduce your insurance premiums by stopping government payoffs to big insurance companies and sending that money directly to the people. To further reduce insurance premiums, my plan ends the giant kickbacks to insurance brokers and corporate middlemen that only drive up costs. And I never knew the words kickbacks, but so basically, he wants transparency in the industry, which doesn't exist to this right now. It doesn't exist. There is no transparency. By transparency, I mean pricing. There is no pricing transparency. You don't shop for, a hospital based on price. You don't pick up the phone and say, hey, I can get a colonoscopy down the street here for $1,000. Can you match it or do better? And can't do that because that just doesn't. It's just like get your insurance pay for it. Well, what this will change is people will be paying for it, and the insurance money will be controlled by you, not by the agencies, which would change things a lot. Would change things a lot. But transparency's got to come first. I mean, you got to know what it's going to cost so that you can pick the right doctors, the right hospitals, the right everything. And that would shake up the whole industry. I mean, that's just crazy. But he's asking for that right now, greater transparency for both healthcare insurers, providers, and participating in Medicare and Medicaid to displace their prices, their fees within the office of the facilities. I know that's not done yet, but that's his plan. He wants to increase accountability amongst insurance, reduce requirements for clear online disclosure of policy rates and benefits in very plain English. That would be an improvement, very plain English, so we could understand it. And then, but have somewhere where you can look at administrative costs and what you're waiting. And then additional disclosures would include the portion of claims denied and average waiting periods for routine care. So healthcare is being worked on. It's the biggest expense that we have, I think, is healthcare. As far as a percentage of GDP and stuff, it's United States is crazy. We have way too much being spent on doing that kind of stuff. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. Dana Carvey, comedian. He's a little article about him and it's really him talking to Mayor about Bill Mayer, some of the changes in the atmosphere, a political atmosphere, and some of that, the cancel culture and all that kind of stuff, and how much things have changed as far as allegiances and which party you belong to may get you canceled and stuff. And Bill Mayer says, he was affected. He said during the interview, he says, I used to get nominated for everything, and then the wokeness came in, and then I was considered conservative, which is ridiculous. It's what he calls soft canceled. And Bill Mayer, at least in recent years, has been talking openly about some of the ridiculous items that are happening in politics, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, and that's kind of taboo on the Democrat side. So I didn't even realize that he no longer got any nominations for awards because it was what he calls a soft cancel. Dan and Carvey jumps in and says, well, I'm a Bill Clinton liberal, which is from the 90s, which is now called a Nazi. I think it's changed that much, Dana Carvey. I think it has. He said he added that the equivalent of a far right today is what Bill Clinton was in the 90s. And, of course, then you're a white supremacist also, which is also a tagline that's thrown on that right away. But the comedians have it right. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ. It's Fernando.
Good morning, Fernando.
Remember the Watergate when Nixon got impeached?
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Absolutely. I was in high school. Remember it well.
Well, my question is, if Trump gets impeached, what are you going to call it?
If Trump gets impeached, we're going
to be the water Trump.
No. Look, he's already been impeached twice. It's just.
I'm not a crook.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't need to say it. Look, he's not being impeached for anything criminal. He wasn't impeached for anything. It's just political hacks that are doing it. And they're just anything they can to stop is screwing up their program of one world order and communist states. And Trump has been a big thorn in their side for that, to give it back to the people and get more back to
exactly mundo.
Yeah.
You'd say.
And he's strong enough to do it, and that's a rare thing. And maybe it's because he's from the outside. A lot of these inside politicians, they've been working the system for 20, 30 years. And,
I understand.
And they just don't go against the system. They're afraid. Trump's afraid of nothing. And yeah, he's paid a big price. Look what he's paid. He's got indicted on trumped up charges in many states. Yeah.
He's got a lot of enemies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and they come after him with tons of money and come after him with a ton of rhetoric, and including the press. The press is constantly misrepresenting. Of course, now it's costing him money because he sues them.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of enemies and a lot of politics.
Yeah.
They're throwing money like crazy.
Look,
for those protesters.
If we lose the House, the only question is how many impeachments will he get in the last 2 years? That's the only question, because we know that's what they're going to tie themselves up with versus doing anything for the country. Correct.
Well, if Newsom goes to the president, I'll impeach him right away.
Yeah. Well, but if it's not rational, if it's not for something beyond just politics, it's going to go the same way it does with Trump. It's not going to go anywhere. You're just.
Well, Newsom diverted all that water to the downstream for the people, I guess, for the pools and all that down in California.
Well, he should.
When the fire started, there's no water in the reservoirs.
He should be impeached in California, but because it's party, it's partisan, it's not going to happen. The party loves him. In fact, he's still a presidential candidate hopeful, because as bad as he is as governor, he's a Democrat that might win. So they don't care. They don't care how destructive he is. They don't care.
They don't care about all the awful things he did. They just want him in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It don't matter what he is doing.
He's not a front runner, but Kamala is, and that's even scarier.
We'll be in bad trouble if they do. I'm headed west. I'm going to my hometown, Sealy, California.
Which hometown is that?
Sealy is about 8 miles from El Centro.
Oh, okay.
The Navy base, the Blue Angels, they're where they fly over. I remember when I was a kid, man, those planes would ride over my house.
I love airplanes. I probably would just run out and look at them and smile. I don't care. I like them.
Blue Angels have been there for ages.
That's right. They have been, and you see
and
them.
I hope they stay. If the Navy goes or closes, I think Chile would come down the drain.
Yeah, they're a big help for them. Just like air
Yeah.
bases in Germany are a big help for Germany.
Yeah.
We need to bring them all back to the United States.
Yeah, that base has been. We used to go to church at the Navy base for the do the communion, for all my brothers went to that church in the Navy base.
Oh, okay.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, I hope
Well, have a nice
it
day.
stays. Take care, sir.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. That was Fernando. Let me see. The Golden Globes, I guess, they gave something to Ricky Gervais. Wow. Okay. He won the category of best stand-up comedy on TV. Mayor thinks that he should have won it. But it's not one of those woke can catch and throw up, because I call their blank out, and the fact that people are laughing shows it's funny. When you do stupid things, it's funny. And when the left did a lot of stupid things in the last 5 to 10 years, and I'm a comedian, I go where the gold is, and it's hitting the side of the barn to make fun of some of this stuff. He doesn't say stuff, but Kerry took the time to imitate former President Barack Obama's voice reciting a nursery rhyme, which is kind of funny. I'll say it, but not in Barack Obama's voice. I don't know how to do that. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack looked at Jill, and Jill looked at Jack, and Jill said, "I'd like to be a Jack too." Carvey thinks it's funny, and I guess everybody laughed. Of course, if you did it like Barack Obama, it probably would be. And of course, Dana Carvey, Saturday Night Live, funny guy, always enjoyed him. Secret weapon on the midterm to defy midterm history. The RNC chair says there is one. Well, midterm history is what he's talking about, is when a president from a party takes the Oval Office, that they're going to lose seats in the House or Senate, and maybe lose. And sometimes it's a lot. As much as 40, 50 seats sometimes. I think Obama lost that many. And it's rare that you don't, and it's rare that you gain any. Well, the Republican National Committee chair, Joe Grutter, says there's one goal this year. That's it. GOP holds its fragile House majority and narrow control of the Senate. That's the goal, is to defy the midterm history. And now he's been a longtime ally of Donald Trump. And in order to defy the history and pick up seats in 2026, he's talking about picking up seats. Now, some of that help is going to come from like Texas, which gerrymandered, and there's other states that are doing similar. Potentially California. I don't know. It's up in the air. And California, of course, would want to gerrymander to benefit a Democrat Party, which I don't know how they can. They're so thinly gerrymandered now. It's ridiculous. So I don't know how they can improve on it, but they think they can. What Joe says, our secret weapon is the president of the United States. He's laser focused. And of course, he's going to have to get out into the country a lot this year, which means he has to wrap up Greenland today. Maybe he will. He says, I think it's going to pay huge dividends across the board, whether you're running for governor, Senate, House, or whether you're running for a local seat. Democrats see it differently. They think they can put Trump underwater, which he does have underwater approval ratings, which is typical of a president to have. But his approval ratings are not terrible by any means. In fact, they're right where they were, which is unusual. And I'll get to that in a little bit on why they haven't changed. But they think the biggest concern is high prices, and they think they can unload on Trump that the high prices are all your fault, even though inflation under Trump this last year was very much controlled versus Biden, but that's not the way the press is going to say it. Joe says that in the midterm elections, the president's going to barnstorm the country with our candidates. And I think that's what's necessary. I think Trump is still a draw. Formidable fundraising advantage over the rival Democratic National Committee. We're raising tons of money, and I think it's always been the case, but it always hasn't been the results because there's so many of these 501c3s, there's so many of these nonprofits that get government money that funnel it back to the DNC. Hopefully a lot of that's been dried up. He says, we're going to do everything right. We got to make sure we turn out our voters out. And we've got to make sure that we have people energized. And there's nobody that can energize our base more than President Trump. Says there's been nobody more focused on affordability than President Trump. I think that's absolutely true. Whether or not he gets credit for it, or whether the DNC with the mainstream media can overturn logic, don't know. We'll find out. He says, look at the gas prices, lowest prices since 21. Look at egg prices, real pocket issues. All true. Democrats are leaning on some decisive victories that they just had, like special elections, particularly in New York and some others that were special elections. And true, they were heavy Democrat areas, heavy Democrat opportunities, and they took advantage of them. They were, and they were not going to be easy in any means by us, but they did come out with those. But I don't think that's. I mean, they're trying to make that low. See, there's a trend there. I don't see that. 1 year into his second term, Donald Trump has made one thing unmistakably clear: he doesn't care about everyday Americans. Now, this is the DNC Rapid Response Director, Kendall Whitmer. He doesn't care about Americans. He only cares about himself and his billionaire donors. I don't know why this ridiculous rhetoric would ever work, but okay. As working families struggle to afford groceries, utilities, and health care and worry about finding a job, Trump is busy meddling in foreign countries and palling around with executives, failing to address Americans' top concerns on the economy, which none of that's true, but it doesn't have to be. It's politics. And Whitmer's putting, voters won't forget Trump's betrayal come midterms, and Republicans will have to answer for it. But of course, the RNC chair highlights one big, beautiful bill. I will tell you that people are very excited about filing their taxes this year. They should be some of the biggest refunds that anybody has received. Hopefully that's the case, and that it's noticed by the electorate, but it's early. And yeah, it's going to be this year. It's coming up. It's coming up quickly. It's early, but it's coming up quickly. So let's talk about Trump's approval ratings a little bit. And it's an interesting article by Lee Carter that talks about his approval ratings. And for the year, Trump's unpopular approval is in the low 40s. His disapproval in the mid 50s. The verdict is, according to the polling complex, is clear, but he says it isn't. It's not the. He says what the polls aren't telling us is Trump is failing. They're not telling us that at all. What's telling us is that he's delivering. And I thought that was an interesting look at this. The polls have been consistent since he was elected. They haven't moved. Very little up or down. It's like the battle lines in the Ukraine war. They haven't moved much. There's been a lot of fighting going on, but they stay about the same. Because, and he points out that Trump's not like other presidents, which I'm always interested. And I think it's true because he says most presidents in their first year are recalibrating, reshuffling. They're not doing what they promised. They're recalibrating, trying to discover limits of their power, soften their rhetoric, explain why campaign promises are harder than expected. That's not what Trump does. He's governed exactly as he campaigned. That's why his numbers are consistent. And that's why the polls are showing that he's fulfilling them. He's not going to change people's minds. But he's governed exactly as he campaigned, and he dared the country to react. He didn't soften it, as most of them do. He didn't change it. He promised to get tough on immigration. He did. He promised to put America first, even if allies bristled. He did. He promised decisive action over consensus. He delivered it. You can disagree with his choices. You cannot credibly argue that he misrepresented who he would be. He's exactly who he'd be. Job approval is around 41, 42%. Disapproval around 50s. But Wall Street just put out a poll that said 92% of the voters who supported Trump in 24 still approve of the job he's doing, which is highly unusual. A lot of people support a candidacy, and then that candidate goes off of the promises. They don't fulfill them. They go somewhere else. They say, well, that was just campaign talk. That was just to get elected. And it causes disappointment. But with him, he's held on to him because he hasn't left what he is. He didn't lose. He kept his people. Polls still measure performance exactly as it was. But a good economy moves numbers, and we're not in a bad economy, but it doesn't feel like it because we just had 4 years of horrible inflation, and we're still living with those results. But hopefully we can show something more strong. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
You're talking about a good economy can move numbers.
Well, who's good? I mean, am I talking about a good economy? I'm talking about good inflation numbers this year. I think it was like 2.5.
Yeah, but you said a good economy can move numbers. I'm taking.
Oh, a good economy. Yeah, it's the economy stupid. Who was that? James Carville that said that the economy's what got people
now,
elected.
I just want to know where these posters are when Katie Hobbs was increasing delivery fee hikes. From these two refineries that's closing, she was increasing delivery hikes to gas stations, causing 500 to 600 of them to close, which is a quarter of the entire supply of Arizona gas. Not only did she do that, Shell, because of her, pulled out, left, and I think they shut down 1,000 gas stations.
I thought it was 500 or something, but it's substantial. It's huge numbers.
Well, but where's the poll at on Hobbs? That's what I want to know. Why are they putting a hammer? People need to understand they're putting a hammer on Trump because he's not a communist. The communists are ones that are forwarding these polls. I will say it out loud and clear. Yeah. Because if you want something out the door, your communists will complain and bitch about it, and the idiot people will believe it. That's why they're called idiots, Russ. Yeah. People are idiots because they are really bona fide idiots. They really are. And the worst thing you can have is an idiot for a freaking boss, which I've never had.
I think that the communists and the Democrats are going to be complaining no matter what, because that's what they do. That's how they rile people up.
And what I'm trying to get you to understand, the communists in this country are going under the title of Democrats. That's what they're doing.
Agreed.
No, okay. Let me educate you a little bit. In 1954, they passed the Communist Control Act. Makes it illegal for a communist to be registered in this country. You can't be a what do you call it? A
communist party, whatever.
You can't be a political office.
Yeah.
The 1954 Communist Control Act says that.
Yeah.
So now they can't use the word communist, so they have to use the term Democrat. So the communists have taken over the Democratic Party. Look at what they do. Everything they do is contrary to the Constitution, Russ. That to me spells, if it's anti-Constitution, it spells communism. Think about it. Yep. Everything even Kamala Harris talked about was Marxism. It wasn't about the U.S. Constitution, but they use the Constitution as a format. But they're not calling your Constitution the Constitution. They're calling the equity amendments to their Constitution is what they're doing. People are not educated to this crap. But there are such things as equity amendments. And then you have common law amendments. The common law was written from and drafted from the Ten Commandments. That's why it's called common law. But the equity amendments are the ones that the communists use as their constitution, and you believe they're talking about your constitution, that they're not. Because the equity amendments are in competition to the original constitution. And no people know this yet. Have you been telling them this?
Well, not directly like that, but of course, yes.
Oh, no, it is. Yes, it is. Look at the equity amendments. Read them for what they are. The 16th Amendment. The Constitution doesn't mention anything about taxing your labor. But they ratified illegally the 16th Amendment. A communist Democrat, Woodrow Wilson, did that. And then also, central banking system is illegal in this country. It's a communist banking system. It derives from the England Bank. That's where the central banking system comes from. That's why we need to get rid of it. Otherwise, England is still in charge of our damn banking system. We're spinning our wheels on this stuff, is what I'm saying. We really are. And as far as stock market, I could care less about the stock market. It's a gambling institution. The stock market, folks, is a resurrection of the Purple Gang out of Cleveland and Chicago. If you don't know who the Purple Gang is, just look it up on your freaking computer, because I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, just look it up. The Wall Street was an alley. That means they were hiding out. You don't go open a business if it's legit in an alley. If it's legit, you get on Broadway. I always think, but they opened in an alley, and so their reputation now is that the Purple Gang went legit, and so now they created a stock market. Now, again, may I remind you, 10% of the people own 88% of the stock market. 40% owns the remaining 12%. Now, the rest of you slugs, that's what I call you, because the rest of you have credit card debt. 50% have credit card debt. Yeah. So you are supporting the Purple Gang if you got a credit card. Now, I don't. I use debit cards everywhere I go. That means I got to have ready cash there to service my purchase, even if it's $3 or $4 grand. Now here's when comes the difference in the grand. Can I trust my bank? No. Because I'd be like in Monterey, California, to buy a car or something. They would decline my freaking purchase, Russ, my own bank, Wells Fargo. And I say this out loud because there's a proven track record. They can sue me if they want to or kill my account. I don't give a damn. I'm too old. But this is what happens. Your own financial institutions are your own worst enemies. They really are. And about this eBay and Amazon people, if we ever have an invasion and another war, you're going to regret buying Amazon and all this stuff.
Why is that?
These are little stores. These are mom and pop stores that's across from every little elementary school.
Oh, okay.
Those were grocery supply houses, an extension of what you already had in line. We don't have those anymore. Mm-hmm. If it ain't Walmart, or if it ain't, I think Fry's is owned by somebody else now. If it's Kroger, didn't Kroger buy Fry's sometime back?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all in trouble. So if Kroger and not Kroger, but Fry's, if Fry's and Walmart shut down in Yuma, we are screwed. And we're 200,000 people. No groceries. Oh, I don't care because I got vehicles and cars. I go where there is.
Yeah.
But you got 35% of the people in Yuma that don't have vehicles. I mean, that's a lot. Because the insurance, Arizona is the highest car insurance company in the country. 50 states, Arizona charges the highest insurance rates. Are you people aware of that?
I am not.
Yes, Arizona, and I'll say it again, Arizona charges the highest insurance premiums of any damn state in this union. I want to know why. Why? Is it based on accidents? No. It's based on the fact that they can get it from stupid freaking people that live in this state that has converted the state into Democrats. That's what it is. So the Democrats is ruining your freaking... You can't even have a collection of cars. Now I'm getting ready to de-insure everything, and I'm going to get rid of everything because I don't need to be ripped off.
Yeah.
Right now, I paid that on a Gold-Wing California sidecar trike. I paid $1,230-something for bare bones liability and uninsured interest.
Wow.
Uninsured. Yes, I did.
Wow.
I used to pay $72 for that same policy on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
That is outlandishly. That's bad. But if I want to drive it, I better have insurance because the ultimate can be tens of thousands of dollars with lawyers and all that, and I'll be their pen pal for the next freaking 5 or 10 years. I'll be in their system arguing the case that I was driving without insurance. And that's going to go on my record, and then it's going to increase, quadruple again. But Arizona needs to get a handle on insurance, taxes, and debt. Right now, when you die, matter of fact, just was it last night? I believe it was 8 o'clock. I'm snoozing like a champ. Someone's outside yelling, hollering, shining bright lights in my window. I go, what the hell? It's a freaking county sheriff, because I live in a county, deputy doing a welfare check that someone had called, and I got a neighbor that don't have the balls to come over and knock on my damn door.
Really?
The cop would not tell me who called. And I'm going to tell you why they do these welfare checks, folks, in case you're too stupid to know it. They don't have this particular space in this RV park in their freaking computer. So they did it. So, and my name is such, it's got like 13 characters in it. And so he won my ID. Now, you don't have to give him your ID, even though Katie Hogg signed the bill and said you do. You can guide them away from it. Because he asked me, do you have your ID? No, I said, not handy. I said, therefore, not handy. I didn't say I refused. So he asked me to spell my last name. And I did. What that was about was giving me a cognitivity test. That's all that was about. Had I not been able to spell my last name, they would have ratted and sacked my ass up, and I would have been getting lawyers and all kinds of stuff to get out of that freaking insane institution that they're going to put me in. Arizona, I'm getting ready to move out of Arizona. I can't handle it no more.
Wow.
It was a land of free. But you're oblivious to this stuff. You're too wrapped up in the local good old boys, council people, and all that kind. And that's where communism starts, is at the local level, Russ. You got to stand for something. As a radio program, you did it one time when I first started listening to you. You stood for something.
Well, yeah, I hope
and
so.
You had a righteous program. Yes, you did. You had a righteous program. But you went into this deep state crap.
I certainly don't see that, but okay.
No, I don't see you. I haven't seen Apple come by to your station, or you can't even do a remote with a guy at Apple. You can't even do a remote with someone from GM. You have these local idiots coming in that have, it's like a Kool-Aid stand. That's not a business. Or like some kind of a freaking judo class. That's not a business. A business is when you manufacture something, Russ.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Now, there is no way. Give you an example. The reason I'm saying this, I told you, and I think his name is Lee at Liberty Honda. He's the manager over there, and I hope he's listening because I'm repeating exactly what he told me. I announced to him I had just bought myself a Gold Wing conversion, a California sidecar conversion. And he goes, that's a big long one, didn't it? I said, well, I guess it is. I don't know. Well, I don't have the lift to lift it. What he was telling me, he don't want to work on the damn thing. He ain't going to.
Wow.
He'd rather see the old 84-year-old guy get up under it and change his own damn oil. That's what he was telling me. Now, you got to take people literally when they're speaking. He didn't say, yes, sir, bring it on in here, and I'll get it up in the air somewhere, and we'll get that oil change. He didn't say that. Now, I think in your shop, you probably would have done that.
We would have found a way. Yeah.
Well, that's what shops are supposed to do. I thought they're supposed to be repair station to fix it station. But this guy at Liberty Honda, and I hope they're listening, he told me he doesn't have a lift to accommodate a Honda Go-Wing California sidecar motorcycle. Now, they are the longest and the widest of the bunch. You are aware of that, right?
I am not, but I am now.
Well, that's why I bought it, because it gets attention when you stop at a red light. And they go, what the hell is that? It's wider than a Honda.
It's bigger than the car then, okay.
Oh, it's got backup lights and everything. Oh, I tell you. Oh, yeah. And you can just turn the radio on high and just jamming all the way down the highway. And everybody on both sides of the freeway can hear you. But the sound, remember, you're going faster than sound, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah. You're not going to do that. It's like 600 miles an hour, but okay.
I know one idiot would believe me. Well, yeah, I'm going to do it, but I'm going faster than sound, so I got to turn it way up so the sound can keep up with me. Oh, really? I get asked that. Oh, really? I said, oh, yeah. See, if you're smart, you make the money. Yeah. If you're a dumbass, you don't make money. All you got left is to go whine and bitch and complain about having no money.
Right.
Instead of applying your energy into worthwhile things, I don't care. We used to have high school kids in my high school. Way back in the day, they had a little committee And what we would do, we would go by. We had a list of old people's names that was supplied to us by the Medical Arts Building, and we would go check on their welfare for the Medical Arts Building. They don't do that in our high schools no more. See, a kid is more reciprocal in an old folks that lives by themselves than it would be a cop, like this cop doing the welfare check. Why didn't they have somebody else, like some medical staff, come and check on the welfare? A cop can't help them. He can't do me no good, can he?
He's the one that's going to call the medical if there's an issue.
No, he's the one that's going to shoot you, damn it. He's the one that's got the gun.
I hope not. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's what they do.
Okay.
See, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to leave here. Veterans do not make good cops. Veterans, when I remember my training to this day in boot camp, we had a fixed bayonet on the end of the rifle, and we would look at a bag and stab the bag, K-I-L-L, kill. We would repeat that, and it was amazing because I was a squad leader, and I would watch these guys get all absorbed in this freaking crap. And it's amazing how brainwashed they can get. Now, that's the training of a GI. And I'm sure the GIs out here had the same training, where you get a fixed bayonet, stab in the back, kill, K-I-L-L, kill. They were trained to kill.
Right.
Now, the academy is trained to protect and.
Well,
yeah.
Wait a minute. Our Sheriff Leon Wilmot's former military.
I know.
Okay.
I find him to be amazing.
He
with
is
the restraint that he uses.
He's a great guy.
Oh, yeah. The guy, he's not in this world. He's not. Because the average cop with veteran training, look at the one in Minnesota that killed that George Floyd guy.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I mean, he was a veteran, but no, Leon, well, he's an exception.
Okay.
But exceptions cannot rule the thing. No, I like him. I like Leon. I do.
Yeah.
But I think it's exceptional how he's able to separate the two training. You understand?
Yeah. He's been doing it.
You never see. And one of his deputies came. The deputy, I don't blame the deputy. He responded to the call that he got. I don't blame him. I was nice to him. But my name has 13 characters in it. And when I didn't produce the ID so he could copy it, when I went to spell it, he goes, I'm going to have to say, he goes, oh, shit.
Okay. Oh, gee, I got to run, my friend. I appreciate it.
But it was so long, and I had to do it 3 or 4 times for him to write it down. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. As Mr. OG. Okay, which one of you guys called in a check for him, a welfare check? Come on, man. You caused him concern. We'll be right back.
Partly cloudy skies today, increasing cloudiness this evening. High today 75, low tonight 54. Sunshine and clouds mixed again on Thursday, high 75 tomorrow, partly cloudy and 53 tomorrow night.
All right, do-it-yourselfer, you've got the idea, and you got your building supplies at Southwest Lumber.
That's right.
Now, all you need is a bunch of expensive tools to get the job done.
Oh, that's right.
And you know just the place to rent them. Southwest Lumber, your home for everything home improvement. Southwest Lumber has half-day to multiple-day rentals available on just about anything you need to finish the job. Rent equipment and tools on Saturday and Sunday. It's free. Stop in today at 1917 South Avenue B in Yuma. Southwest Lumber, ready for everything.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And Tax Slayer is here to help you file with 100% accuracy for your maximum refund. Guaranteed. Tax Slayer even has support from real U.S.-based humans if you have any questions along the way. File your federal return by February 8th for $22.99, and I'll help you get the refund you deserve. Take it from me, a talking calculator speaking to you through the speakers of wherever you are. Tax Slayer, file fearlessly.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo!
Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. I just got a few minutes, and I want to finish up on this article that was put out by Lee Carter, talking about Trump's approval ratings, that they reveal what they do reveal. Well, they haven't changed much. And here's what they reveal. He writes that the voters behave more like mirrors. And that Trump's people don't reconsider, they react as who they already are. Supporters of Trump see that he's delivering, so they stick with him. And that's why he has record numbers of people that voted for him that stick with him. Opponents see confirmation that Trump's doing the wrong, he's doing what he promised. And that's not what they wanted. He said the polls record the split. Everyone sees the same reality, but one lens turns red, the other blue. The event isn't it, it's filtered. Trump's presidency doesn't change minds, it clarifies them. And I think that's where he is different. He's consistent with what he promised. And he's getting it done, but that doesn't make the non-supporters happy. They didn't like what he promised in the first place. They wanted chaos. They wanted socialism. They didn't want America first. They wanted world order, one world order. He said the country isn't being persuaded, it's being sorted in response to Trump doing exactly what he said he would do. That's why the numbers barely move. Supporters want them to signal dominance, and critics want them to signal collapse, looking at the same numbers. They say, look, it's collapse. He hasn't, he's no better than he was. He's exactly where he was. It's dominance. One thing is clear, and the defining feature of this presidency is a promise actually kept. I think that's true. Trump didn't run as a unifier and then divide. He didn't run as a reformer and then manage. He didn't run as an outsider and then assimilate. He ran as a disruptor, and he governed as one. It makes him consistent. Absolutely, interesting article for me. I think it's right on. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's made his enemies more angry and his supporters more loyal. I could see that. I think it's absolutely true. Phone lines are open just for, I guess we only got a couple minutes, but they are open if you want to call and say hello. 928-344-5258, and let's take one. You're on the air.
Well, I got it, and I hate calling the third time, but I was in conversation with people the other day. We all agreed on one thing. There's a lot of crap going on in the world, and Trump's involved in all of that. But you know what, President Trump, take care of America first. Take care of Minnesota first. You're running all over there, and America is burning down. It's just a catchphrase, but most Americans want Minnesota taken care of. We want that done. We're fighting too many battles, bro.
You're not, and I've heard this before, Gilbert. You're not alone on that. And I look at it and I think he can handle both things at the same time. But I think there's enough people that thinks that he needs to be planted at home right now. That
I think he needs to be planted in Minnesota.
Wow.
Minnesota, because Minnesota, you got to realize Minnesota. We're also talking about Somalia.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. No, but I understand. And I think he's going to do that. And that's why I read the RNC chair. It says he's going to. That's his goal this year. Is the rest of it just spend it in the country, barnstorming with other candidates and stuff. And that's where he needs to be. And I hope he does that.
Russ, I'm not to be arguing. I'm not going to be OG. I'm not. I got a lot of respect for you. We disagree on a lot of stuff. This is one we're disagreeing really bad.
I think I'm agreeing with you. I think he does. Okay. I think he needs to come in and barnstorm and be more seen locally.
I listened to his speech this morning, part of his speech, and I turned it off because that man is double jointed. That's all I can say. And that's what I'm seeing. This is why I'm feeling the way I am. He's a very double-jointed man on both shoulders because he likes to pat himself in the back.
Oh, well, that's who we brought in there. That's who we voted for. He hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed, but what I'm saying is do Minnesota first. Take care of Minnesota because, again, Somalia is a country that how many billions of dollars that has gone to there? Millions of dollars in suitcases?
It's hundreds, probably hundreds of millions, but who knows? But I think he's taken care of. I mean, look, in Minneapolis, he's got 3,000 federal troops. There's only 600 cops there. I mean, I think
I understand all that, and all that's all good. You know, like I said, you know the old adage: 1,000 attaboys is great, but that one alcaca destroys them all.
All right, Mr. Alcaca. See you later, man.
No, you know what caca is, right?
Yeah, I do.
It's poop. and I'm not trying to shut him down. Just I want to see resolve. How long we've been dealing with Minnesota?
How
big is Minnesota?
We all do. We all do. But,
and again, it's all the judges and stuff.
Hey,
and I agree with you, Russ.
I'm out of time. I got to run. I appreciate your comments, buddy. You take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Because I'm out of time. It's top of the hour. I'll see you tomorrow. AM 560. KBLU.